Academy Sports and Outdoors presents Royals Baseball. Today from Boston, Massachusetts and Fenway Park, it's the final game of the series between the Royals and the Red Sox. Hi, everybody. Steve Physiak, Rex Adler with you. The Royals won their first game at Fenway Park in more than 2 years, 6-3 last night. And Rex, one of the most impressive things, offensively, 9 of the first 10 Royal hits were to the opposite field.
And that helps those guys stay back longer, Fizz, and also it helps them drive in runs. And then they see the ball longer. And they're finally taking some lessons from their hitting coach, Dale Swain, figuring out that if they use that opposite field, it's going to open it up for more pilot to bombardier. Now, they did it against the right-hander last night. Can they do it against the left-hander today?
Those are your sprint cuts of the game and the offensive turnaround. First 2 games that were held to only 3 runs and 10 hits. And then last night, 6 and 12 and good pitching by Ventura. We expect an excellent pitching matchup today. The veteran Volquez against the rookie Rodriguez. Royals and Red Sox on a Sunday matinee coming up next. Your local Kansas City area Chevy dealers for great prices on all our new 2015 vehicles. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Welcome back to Fenway Park. The Royals' final game at the Fens this year. Kansas City with the best record in the American League at 74-48. 12.5 games up on the second place Minnesota Twins. ALCIDES ESCOBAR with 6 hits on this road trip will lead things off. Then Ben Zobrist, Lorenzo Cain, and Eric Hosmer. And Kendrys Morales had his 25th multi-RBI game of the year last night. Eduardo Rodriguez will start for Boston.
They're going to face a guy who's got a fastball, slider, changeup. He's very aggressive with his fastball. He'll go 93 to 97 with that pitch. He's a ground ball pitcher. Little 2-seam sinkers. Sharp slider, especially to the lefties, and a lot of changeups to the righties. So another test for the offense to see if they can go the opposite way and stay off of trying to pull that changeup.
Escobar comes in hitting .268. He hit his 3rd home run earlier this week at Fenway Park. A blast to center field. And he goes after the first pitch and fouls it off, strike 1. Rodriguez, though, coming off perhaps his best start of the year. He threw a career high 8 innings, also threw a career high 114 pitches, and allowed only 1 run in a 9-1 victory over Cleveland.
Nope. The Royals know he's good. Rodriguez, he beat him at home at the K this year. So they know what they're up against. Another fastball changeup guy. Now, he has been really good at nighttime. 6-1 with a 1.67 Rodriguez is. But during the day, Fizz, just 1-4 with a 10.67 ERA. It's a day game, and it's time for the Royals to even up this series.
Do the daytime conditions equalize that changeup that he throws?
It's hard to explain those numbers, although he has not fared well. And that ERA at nighttime, that's 2nd lowest, and then that day ERA is the highest in Major League Baseball. So Pilot to Bombardier, get to him.
Well, remember, he's only 22 years old, out of Valencia, Venezuela, same hometown as the Royals' Salvador Perez. And another foul ball struck past Mike Jerschley, the 3rd base coach.
They'll have to get a new bat, and as far as bat boys go, Fizz, this ballpark here, they get a better workout than any other ballpark. They got to have extra bats with them. They go to the on-deck circle, and when you're in the on-deck circle, you better have a hockey suit on, because, man, it's so close to home plate, you might get hit with a foul ball.
And that one is struck to the pitcher, but right to the first baseman, Travis Shaw. You talk about misfortune. Well, misfortune for both Rodriguez and Escobar, because that had to hurt a little bit.
Sure did, but a kick save and a beauty right off his heel. Can you believe that? That's rotten luck there. You got it.
You got an assist, though.
Yeah, they got to check on him, though.
Yep. And the trainer out there, along with Torey Lovullo, the interim manager who is filling in for John Farrell, who on August 14th announced that he had been diagnosed with stage 1 lymphoma, but they believe that they have caught it early enough. And Torey told us that John doing well. He was at the ballpark the other day. And right now, Eduardo Rodriguez says he's just fine. How about the Red Sox defense?
Okay, Jackie Bradley Jr. is out there in left field. He's a lot better defender than Hanley Ramirez, so Hanley's going to grab some pine today. Mookie Betts in center field's really good, Bradley. And Betts, Bogaerts, a couple of young, talented team. Now, this shot looks like a hit right off of his heel.
Perhaps that will throw off his command. You always wonder how a young pitcher will bounce back when he threw a high volume of pitches. 114 in that start against Cleveland. Only allowed 1 run. It was a home run by Michael Brantley.
He's got a smooth, easy arm action. He likes to get ahead with a fastball and then get righties to chase away with a changeup. Pretty simple procedure, but harder to execute.
The catcher, Ryan Hanigan, will take care of Zobrist, so 2 quick outs here in the first inning. But this was much the case yesterday after their starting pitcher, Matt Barnes, got the first 2 Royals out, and the next 3 batters, Kane, Hosmer, and Morales, followed with single, double, and it was 2-0 KC. Here is Lorenzo Cain. He broke an 0 for 10 with the 2 hits last night.
Locaine, 5th in the league in batting against left-handers. 354 average, 5 homers out of his 12. He likes to hit those lefties.
It was interesting. I was sitting with Jeff Montgomery in the dugout when he yelled out to Dale Swaim, "Hey, you guys had a lot of base hits to the opposite field." And Dale yelled back, "Yeah, that was against a right-hander. Let's see how we do against a left-hander taking it to the opposite field." Here's Dale, his team's 2nd in the American League in batting. 268 behind Detroit's 275. Rodriguez, a strike thrower. He had no walks in the 8 innings in that Cleveland victory. Fastball upstairs, and he can reach as high as 97 miles an hour. And Rex, this was a guy who was acquired at the trade deadline last July 2014 from Baltimore for Andrew Miller.
Miller's not too shabby either.
Nope.
But this kid, he's got a high ceiling as far as the starter goes. Get him to swing that changeup.
Bogaerts throws out Kane, who's always hustling. And it's 3 up, 3 down for Eduardo Rodriguez. We'll see Eddie Volquez when we come back. Has been all year long with 76 runs scored in their last 9 games. Boston has moved up from 9th in the American League to 3rd in the AL, and Betts, Bogaerts, Ortiz, Shaw have been the main guys responsible for that heat. Eddie Volquez will make the start for Kansas City, and he has a 3.2 ERA. That's 8th lowest in the American League.
Eddie's been extremely consistent. That's why Monty nicknamed him Steady Eddie. He's been doing a great job. Fastball command's been awesome. He's got a fastball. He'll reach 95 miles an hour, low 90s. Good little sinking action. 4-seam straight up atop. Get that strikeout. Change up and a curve. All of them moving down. Very good action to his pitches. Likes to pitch down in the zone.
And back at Kauffman Stadium when the Royals hosted Boston, he had the 1 victory in that 3-game series when he beat the Sox 7-4. Did give up 4 runs in 5 1/3. And it was Mookie Betts who hit a leadoff home run off of Eddie Volquez that afternoon. Two balls and 1 strike. Betts with an 8-game hit streak, batting .359 to push his average from the mid-260s to .275. He has certainly been a Royal killer. 3 home runs.
That's because he uses the whole field. He's not a dead pull hitter. He's a guy that's going to go out there and utilize that speed and keep his hands inside the ball. A smart approach, especially knowing himself. He's got some pop now, there's no doubt about it, with 11 homers, but he's not up there trying to yank one.
And this is a very patient Boston team. They've walked almost 100 more times than Kansas City. The Royals obviously the most aggressive team in the AL. in there. Just grazed the outside corner at the knees. 3-2.
Try to make him put it in play. Earn his way on. Volquez does a good job using that defense. And he used it again.
And he may have gone after ball 4, but Betts swinging at it. Pops it up to Alex Rios. And how about the Royals defense? Brought to you by Ford.
Escobar, he's a borderline Iron Man. There's no question about it. Played every single game last year. This year he's had a few ups and downs. And a couple little nagging injuries there. He got early courtesy of Brett Laurie of the Oakland A's. But other than that, Esky's been very steady at shortstop.
Yeah, the last time he did not start at shortstop was June 29th when Christian Colon got the start. Colon's been starting a lot at short, at second base, down at AAA Omaha. He might be a September call-up. Strike in there to Pablo Sandoval. 3 for 13 in this series. He's done his best work against right-handers. And Volquez will take care of him quite easily. And as we take a look at the Royals leaderboard, Volquez leads the team in wins, starts, innings, strikeouts, quality starts with 14. He has been steady Eddie this year.
Outstanding acquisition by Dayton Moore. Just another quality piece to the starting rotation that they needed to go along with that young man right there who really looked good last night.
Yeah, even Ned Yost was talking about the calm demeanor that you and I noticed on the mound from Ventura.
Better believe it. That's a big part of it. Volquez does a nice job with that. He's improved his mound presence as the season's gone along. He's not thinking so much about his mechanics. He's going out there and just letting her rip, letting it fly, just like Dave Island wants him to do. Obviously not getting a low pitch tonight or this afternoon. That's 2 or 3 he's missed right over the plate that was down. Those are good strikes. That's exactly where a pitcher wants to execute. Come on, Mike. Same spot.
He's listening to you. He called that one a strike.
I like Mike. You know what? It's not an easy job, that's for sure. It's so much easier to sit up here and criticize. But look, if it's over the plate and it hits a strike.
I thought you were the love doctor. You were only giving out love.
Look, I'm only human, Fizz, but you know, that pitcher, you got to get that lower strike, man. That's right where you want to be. See, look at that. If you're up in the zone, you get whacked.
Bogaerts continues his success against Kansas City this year. He is now 10 for 24 against the Royals, and Boston has a man on with 2 out for David Ortiz.
Yeah, this is amazing how that works, but we see it every day in baseball. Pitchers that execute win, pitchers that don't lose.
I will say this, though. Volquez, even when he hasn't had his best stuff or command this year, man, he's done a great job just kind of grinding through and keeping the team in the game.
It's his veteran savvy. He's a real pro. This guy is at the top of his career now. He's with the right team to go to the promised land. That's what he wants to do. And he's leading by example.
Here is Ortiz, who is 0 for 4 against Volquez in his career. He was on base all 4 times last night. I beg your pardon, all 5 times. He had 3 walks and a couple of hits. I remember that last duel he had with Greg Holland, fouling off pitch after pitch and then loading the bases, and then Holland got the next batter, Travis Shaw, to pop up and end the game. Royals won at 6-3.
Big Papi 0 for 4 in his career off Volquez. Steady Eddie been a nice influence in the clubhouse, especially to Ventura. But I don't believe I've ever seen him in just this short season here, that first time I've been around him a little bit, without a smile.
You're right. And even before the game, he was talking with friends, relatives, and usually you'll see a starting pitcher being totally focused, but this is what works for Volquez.
Tells me he's extremely confident in his ability, and he wants to be the same guy every day, whether he on his 5th day or not.
got to be yourself. Butera will chase this, but
he's coming back.
Oh, did he get it?
No.
It bobbled.
Yeah, that ball, you know, if it's hit high enough, once it starts its way down with that backspin, it comes back to the playing field. Every catcher that ever played the game knows that. And Butera, he's staying with it, and he had it. Just couldn't get it in the webbing of his catcher's mitt. Fan didn't interfere with him. Tried, just couldn't close it down.
So Ortiz gets another chance. He did not spill his beer.
And he wasn't reaching over in play either. He's just protecting his area.
One of the all-time great clutch hitters in the game. 492 home runs, now in his 17th big league season. And Volquez just rears back and fires the heat right by Ortiz and gets his first strikeout.
Rats.
Our Royals Memories program. Choose between a variety of on-field opportunities such as playing catch in the outfield, taking in summer fireworks on the field, and many more. And all you have to do is select a once-in-a-lifetime experience you'll cherish forever. Simply download the Ballpark app and pick upgrades. Eric Hosmer to lead things off. He's batting .316, the fifth best in the American League. Rodriguez comes inside for ball one.
Yeah, Fizz, walking out of the Fenway Park last night after the game, there was a multitude of royal blue in the fans, and they were waiting for a player. Okay, so look, they had to settle for me, but I just loved it. Are you kidding? They were so excited.
What a surprise. You enjoyed that.
Yeah, after that win, it was so cool to see the fans. And talking to a longtime senior executive here at the Red Sox, Jerry Kapstein, he said normally it's Yankee fans that come to Boston and here at Fenway, not Royal fans or any other team for that matter. But it's all changing.
Hosmer to center field. Mookie Betts. One out. Well, not to change the subject about you to something else, but our Honda most trusted player is Kendrys Morales. The number of RBIs, but look at the number of home runs.
Yeah, look, he's not one of your power hitters. he sprays the ball around. He's a professional hitter. He's not up there looking to
That's
turn
what
and
I talk
burn.
about, what he has done in the clutch this year. So many doubles. His 33rd yesterday, which is tied for second in the American League.
.351 average with runners in scoring position speaks for itself. And the fact that he's given protection to Eric Hosmer this year, hitting behind him, they're saying, man, you know, I can't walk Hosmer. I got to throw to him because that guy Morales is on deck. He might hurt me.
That combination has driven in 157 runs this year. Hosmer with 72, Morales with 85.
So if you think about it, you see those numbers and lack of power from their designated hitter, who's been extremely productive this year, fits right into the Royals offense. They're a contact hitting team. They put the ball in play to all fields, and hopefully we see more of that today. Opposite field. Heads up.
And Rodriguez will give up the long ball. He has only thrown 87 in the third innings this year, and he's given up 11 home runs. 6 to left-handers, 5 to right-handers.
Rodriguez, he has a nice smooth stroke, man. He's looks like he's convicted with every pitch he throws.
And what's interesting, Hud, he is a natural right-hander. He began to throw left-handed when he broke his arm at the age of 7, and he idolized Venezuelan Johan Santana, so he said, I'm going to start throwing with my left arm. And he had became one of the elite pitchers in all of Venezuela as a kid.
How old was he when he started that?
7, he broke his arm, so he started throwing left-handed.
I wish I would have done that.
It was time for you.
Anyway, I'm tired of talking about myself, Fizz. Won't you talk about me now?
All right. Tell me about your golf game.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Yeah. No, this is should be a really good matchup today with these two starters. Could be a low-scoring game. See if Morales feather one to the opposite field here. He's not looking 3-2 to jump over the monster. They're coming in on him.
And he pounds that one, and Sandoval dives for it and makes a terrific play.
Got that inside pitch. Sandoval, after making a costly error last night, says, all right, I'm back on my game today. Third base, you see that? He's just ready to move laterally, left or right. It's a reaction position. Don't have to be on your toes quite as much as a middle infield.
Now we'll see the lefty-lefty matchup with Rodriguez facing the Royals' Moustakas, and Mike 2 for 7 with a home run in this series. Teased him away, did not go.
Moose hitting .239 against left-handers with 4 homers. It's not bad.
That had some zip on it, 95.
Royals are hitting .265 as a team overall. 27 homers. And their record is 23-21 against Southpaws.
Mike got under it and lifts it to left center field. Jackie Bradley takes care of it. 6 up, 6 down for Eduardo Rodriguez with help from his panda at third base. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KCDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. A lot of royal blue here at Fenway Park, ballpark that opened in 1912. And they get crowds in here about 38,000, a nice tidy ballpark, and it used to be a little bit bigger. Volquez will face Travis Shaw to lead things off. He made the final out last night in the Royals' 6-3 victory. Had the biggest crowd they ever had at Fenway when they had more seats, 47,627 for a Yankees doubleheader back in 1935.
Wow. If that's anything like a Yankees-Red Sox game nowadays, that game lasted the whole day.
They hated each other because in the teens, Boston ruled the American League. And of course, the 20s, the Yankees took over after Ruth was traded from the Red Sox to New York. Look at all those world championships, 15, 16, and the last one was at 18 before they finally won it again. Took them almost 100 years. Good off-speed pitch. It's one of the best. Opponent's only hitting 170 off of that changeup.
That's got great depth to it. Fades away from lefties. One of the reasons why that average is so low against left-handed batters is that changeup.
Well, he tried to double up with Travis Shaw. Missed badly, and the count is full. Shaw 3 for 12 in this series, but 0 for his last 8 with 4 strikeouts. Young man's got plenty of power. No question about that. He's hit 6 home runs, and all of them have been in this ballpark. He was the power hitter in the MAC conference. Played at Kent State.
And there were those splits we were telling you about, the lefties way down there.
And there is that good tailing fastball at 93 miles an hour to strike out Travis Shaw. Well, the Green Monster is 37 feet high, and at the very top is our Joel Goldberg.
And this is a great spot, Fizz, to watch a game. We've got some Royals fans up here, of course, plenty of Red Sox fans. Now, one guy that does not want to be living up here is Edinson Volquez. I talked to him the other day and said, you know, what do you think about the wall? And he said, too close. And then he laughed. And that goes back to what you guys are saying about the personality. He's so laid back, so easygoing. He's only had one career start here at Fenway. It went very well, 6 innings and 1 earned run when he was with the Padres. And he might be well suited for this with that ground ball rate. Second highest ground ball rate of any Royals starter, right behind Yordano Ventura. And as Dave Island, the pitching coach, said, if he sticks to his game and has good stuff, he'll be just fine.
Well, he's been just fine thus far. He has struck out 2, and he's been able to paint that outside corner and showing some terrific changeups. He just displayed to Travis Shaw before striking him out on a fastball. And there is another off-speed pitch.
Yeah, that changeup's a beauty.
RUSNEY Castillo is the batter, hitting .286 with 4 home runs. Yeah, they wanted to stay away from that monster. It was designed to stop cheap home runs because Fenway Park built on the corner of a block. Up the middle. Infante backhands. He will not be able to get Castillo, who runs well, and that's the second hit off Volquez. Look at these strikeouts on changeups this year. Edinson right up there with Salazar, Hamels, Shields, Shoemaker, and Hendricks, and that's our Toyota leaderboard. And we told you opponents only batting 170 off of his changeup this year.
That's because he doesn't make many mistakes with it. He really finishes it nicely. Same arm speed as his fastball, really makes it tough for hitters.
And he has a very good fastball. I mean, it averages between 93 and 94 miles an hour. Like that. Ryan Hanigan, the batter. He had the key hit in the Game 1 victory by Boston on an 0-2 pitch. He singled the left field and scored 2. That pushed the Red Sox lead from 1-0 to 3-0. Castillo 3 for 3 stealing bases.
Yeah, boy, he is really down in that zone today. His mechanics are perfect so far. And you know, you talked about the ground balls that he brings, and that's been an important factor in that royal blue uniform with that great defense. He's induced 16 ground ball double plays, just one shy of a career high 17 he set last year with the Pirates. So he's wants to do the same thing right here on Hanigan. Just keep it down and let the defense work.
And then he goes change up, and there's a foul tip into the glove of Butera. Strikeout number 3 for Volquez.
Made a double play here. I tell you, you got a 4-seam fastball down there. You're throwing at 94, 95, and then you mix that changeup in the same spot. It's going to disrupt the timing.
Very comfortable afternoon here at the ballpark, Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, trying to get out of here with a winning road trip. The Royals currently 3-2. They won the first 2 games in Cincinnati and then knocked off Boston last night 6-3. Jackie Bradley was extremely hot. Then the Royals the last couple of games have cooled him off. 1 for 8 with 4 strikeouts in the series. He smacks that one to left center field. Zobrist will not reach it. And heading to third is Castillo, and he will come around to score.
That's right where you wanted to put it. It's off the plate. Just some really good hitting there by Jackie Bradley. He was able to get extended out there and barreled it left center. Good stroke. Certainly was not a mistake.
Less than a month ago, Jackie was down in the minor leagues at AAA Pawtucket. But ever since they recalled him, he has been playing very well, hitting over 400. I told you the recent struggles the last couple of games, but that was only 2 games. Now Rutledge. First breaking ball we've seen in a while from Volquez, and it's 1-0. Rutledge 4 for 10 in this series. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one today, to look forward to Miller time later in this afternoon's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Volquez at 11-7 this year. Pitched against his old team Cincinnati last Tuesday. Wound up with a no decision because that went extra innings, but he only gave up a run in 6 innings. Good breaking ball, 1-2.
And then the bullpen, they took over after that, and they've been marvelous so far on this road trip. The pen has been outstanding, holding their opponents down and getting the job. Now most teams, they're telling themselves, hey, let's get to the pen, let's get the starter out of there and get to the pen, but they don't say that when they play the Royals. They're saying, let's get the starter, forget the pen.
Dave Island, pitching coach, in the right with Ned Yost on the left. Royals looking for their 75th win of the year and trying to tie a season high 27 games over 500.
Volquez very stingy when it comes to giving up hits with runners in scoring position. Just a 178 average. He's given up to those hitters.
Base hit. Bradley will score to make it 2-0. So Boston coming through with 2-out clutch hitting.
All right, that's the first hit now with the runner in scoring position. That double by Jackie Bradley scored Castillo from first. And there it was, a little inside fastball, short, compact swing by Rutledge. He's been having a good series.
It's his 5th hit of this series. Man, the last 2 weeks, Boston batting .331, averaging almost 8 runs per game. They have been the hottest team in baseball offensively since that time. They haven't always pitched that well. And this is not the guy you want to see right now, Mookie Betts. And he bombs this one to center field. But plenty of room in center field at Fenway Park, and Lorenzo Cain will make the catch, but 2-run score for Boston. Well, Fenway Park built in 1912, and this is what it used to look like. The good old days, and then the Green Monster was built. Baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by Thoroughbred Ford. For great deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. And by Panera Bread. Avoid the lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. Eduardo Rodriguez now has a 2-0 lead. He will face Alex Rios, who's 5 for 10 in this series. He's lifted that average to 242. And an RBI single late in the game last night. And he singles up the middle, so his 6th hit of this series.
Rios, you know, once you seem to find it, it carries over into the next day, and that's why you see hitters that get hot all of a sudden, they're able to carry it over. Staying inside the ball, that's been a key for Rios.
Well, you'd love to see this guy join the hit parade, because he broke an 0 for 31 yesterday when he singled in that 6th inning. Still, Infante at 215, that's not where he usually is. He's usually around a 270 hitter in his career. Been battling some injuries this year. What kind of move does Rodriguez have?
He's quick home, and he's got a small, quick step over to first base. So He's going to keep runners tight. Most lefties all have good moves over there, just facing you. Nice.
And there's a sharp base hit to right field. Rios had to hold momentarily, then gets to second base in time. He had to make sure that Castillo could not make that catch, and then busted to second base, and the Royals have 2 on with nobody out.
All right, it's time for Infante and Rios heat up, and they're starting to do it. Just a slight hesitation there. Had to make sure, like you said, he didn't catch it. Now we'll see Butera. Now, this might be a good opportunity here with nobody out. See if he can maybe move those runners along with a bunt. It's very possible. Sandoval, third baseman, first baseman Shaw, they're in. They think it could happen too.
And Drew gets a very good bunt down. He almost had himself a base hit, but he does a great job advancing Rios to third and Infante to second base.
Yep, the sooner you get that sac bunt out of the way, the better. You always look for that first pitch. Perfect technique.
Good job by Hanigan, who's always been known for his defense. He did force Shaw to stretch for that. Now it will be Escobar, who has 38 RBIs this year.
.290 hitter this year with runners in scoring position.
And with the exception of Sandoval, they have all of the infielders back, so they'll give up a run to get the out. And Escobar fouls it sharply, right side, strike 1. And Rodriguez in the minor leagues was known as a strikeout pitcher, and he came into this one with 68 strikeouts in a little more than 86 innings. But his strikeouts have been down recently. He only had 24 in his last 40 innings after averaging 1 per frame in his first few starts.
Well, you know, that sinker ball, he's going to pitch to contact a little bit more, changing his game a little bit, not trying to blow it by hitters.
But you would think this would be the time he would go for a strikeout. But runner in third base and less than 2 out.
You know, another thing too, his control has been really good. Coming into this game, he hadn't walked a batter in the last 49 before he started this game, so he's been able to keep that ball right in the zone.
And facing a team that does not like to walk. Took a shot at right field. Fans, you can vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and you will be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House.
His pattern has been change-ups away, and he has 2 strikes on righties.
In the air, left center field. Bradley will make the catch. Tagging at third is Rios. He will score. Infante does not go from second to third, and the Royals are on the board.
Two sacrifices in the inning get them on the board.
And as we take a look at Arcia in the driver's seat, you see that the Royals are the best in baseball with 2 out and runners in scoring position. They have Infante at second base. Royals will be hosting the Orioles this coming weekend. Tomorrow night it will be Chris Medlin making his first start for the Royals against Jimenez. And then Tuesday, Duffy against Gonzalez. Wednesday, Johnny Cueto against Wei Yun Chen. And Thursday afternoon, Ventura against Chris Tillman. 4 really good matchups. It'll be the Royals and Orioles, the 2 teams that met in the American League Championship Series last year. Ben Zobrist takes strike 1. Single by Rios, single by Infante, sacrifice bunt by Butera, and then a long fly ball struck by Escobar. Royals are within 1 of Boston. The second baseman Rutledge will handle this one. Throw out ZOBRIST. The Royals do get a run in the third and cut the Boston lead to 2-1. Gordo Nation, and you can support Alex on Thursdays in his fan section. Gordo Nation, for only $30 you get a seat in left field plus a limited edition Charlie Hustle brand t-shirt. As an added bonus, the first 100 Gordo Nation fans get an Alex Gordon big head. Visit Royals.com/special events for more information. Every time I say Alex Gordon and big head, you get a smile on your face like, that's not Gordo.
No.
He doesn't have not an ounce of arrogance in him.
No, but he gets a chance to play today. He's going to be the designated hitter.
He is a humble Cornhusker.
Yes, down in AAA. We wish him well.
Can't wait to see him back in left field.
Oh.
Here is Sandoval, and he gets a first pitch breaking ball, strike one. Sandoval chopped one back to the mound, and Volquez threw him out. Right side for Rios. One out. Volquez got hit around the last inning, but his location really wasn't that bad.
Wasn't bad at all. Look at that pitch there. Now that one was up. Okay, it's going to be easier for a hitter, but Jackie Bradley here, he reached out and hit that ball. That ball was off the plate. So I like they're right down the middle, but that ball was in at half, and Rutledge has been hot, staying inside the ball. He's pretty much staying out of the middle. He's got to credit some hitting once in a while.
Another hot hitter up, Xander Bogaerts. A really talented young shortstop, just 22 years of age, out of Aruba. Very smart young man, speaks 4 different languages. Says in Aruba they get so many tourists there that you learn to speak English, French, Spanish, and the Papiamento island language. But they have a core of athletic youngsters and Bogaerts and Betts and Blake Swihart, catcher that they really like, who played last night.
Yeah, can't forget about Brock Holt, who's nursing some injuries, and also Pedroia, who will get back in there. He's got a hamstring issue. Offensively, they're set. They have enough production there, but just all about pitching.
Yeah, because you look at their offensive numbers, third in the American League in batting, third in runs scored. They walk a lot. But very ugly numbers when you talk about their pitching. Last in ERA, last in starting pitching, I mean, by far. They've used 5 rookies as starting pitchers this year, and only the Cincinnati Reds have used more with 8. Currently, the Reds have an all-rookie rotation. Shortstop Escobar. 2 outs.
Well, you know, that man, Dave Dombrowski, recently hired here, is going to go out and look for a couple of free agent starters. I'm sure that Price will be on the top of his list, his former player for the Tigers, and any other options that they might choose. I mean, they've got an opportunity.
And isn't that interesting? The Royals are the only team in Major League Baseball without a start by a rookie pitcher. You really have to like the way Danny Duffy, Yordano Ventura have pitched recently. And of course, they are mixed in there with the veterans. Johnny Cueto and Edinson Volquez, and now Chris Medlin is part of the rotation. He'll be starting tomorrow night. I'm really looking forward to that ball game at the K.
Oh, to get back home is going to be great.
We're expecting great crowds, and the guys were saying that as well. They just love the support they've had in the road, but he said there's nothing like Kauffman Stadium, and that place gets rocking. So important to the team's success as they're well over 500.
You see him all shift around for Big Papi. He squared around and faked a bunt that first pitch.
And then he hits a towering fly ball to deep right field, but Rios right in front of the wall is there to make the catch. Volquez with a sigh of relief as his first 1-2-3 inning. (74-48). The Red Sox are in last place in the American League East, 12.5 games back of the Yankees, and one of the reasons is, as we take a look at the University of Kansas Hospital injury report, Boston with 8 players on the disabled list, including 3 starting pitchers: Clay Buchholz, Rick Porcello, Stephen Wright. They also released Justin Masterson, and they don't have their closer Koji Uehara, their all-star second baseman Dustin Pedroia. And Rex, we've been raving about Blake Swihart, who they consider their #1 prospect, but nobody talks about Christian Vazquez, who was supposed to be their starting catcher, and they love his defense.
Yep, but you know what? It's all about production. With the bat, Vazquez hasn't done a whole lot.
Here is Lorenzo Cain to lead off the 4th. I wonder if Cain's got a little pain going in that right side.
Might have, I don't know. Like he's. Sometimes when you try to hold up, it takes a lot of stress to be able to do that. He had a little something grab him in the back. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Chopper up the middle. Rutledge throws him out. 1 down. Well, Eduardo Rodriguez has dominated the American League Central this year. Look at that 4-0 record, 1.27 against everybody else, and ERA over 6. And sometimes you wonder, Hud, if it's because in the East they have so many small ballparks. In Toronto, Yankee Stadium, Baltimore, Tampa, tiny little yards.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When you get to the bigger yards like Kauffman Stadium or Detroit, America, where a fly ball that might be a home run at Fenway or Yankee Stadium is an out.
Hosmer took some batting practice today, and I was watching him hitting that ball. Everything he hit was to the left and left center, staying inside the baseball, really concentrating on driving it the other way. I didn't see him pull one pitch in batting practice.
And he lines that one sharply to center field.
And he gets under that another 1/4 inch, and that's way out of here, center field. That ball was tattered. Good stroke. Remember, that's where Hosmer gets most of his hits, right up the middle. A little chuck and duck, man, that baby.
And on the radio side, Ryan Lefebvre was visiting with Dayton Moore, Royals general manager, earlier today, and Ryan told me that Dayton was saying, you know, I'm just so impressed with this team. Even though they have a big lead in the Central, they haven't lost their focus. They're competitive each and every day. And I say that because today's batting practice was optional, and yet Hud, every single Royal was out there with Dale Swain working on their game.
It's all about timing. You know, you got to be able to get in there. You know, Dice, especially those guys that aren't playing every day, they really got to keep that swing going. Fog setting in here a little bit.
Sure is.
Park. Yeah, it was foggy this morning. Then it kind of cleared up. But more, kind of a misting hazy, cool afternoon.
Yeah, I was looking at the weather report, and they said 15% chance of rain all afternoon long, but that means 85% chance of no rain, and that's what we were looking forward to. Oh, that might be 2. Oh, and it gets through. Hosmer turns second, goes to third. Here's a storm throw by Betts, and it gets away and goes into the Royals dugout. Hosmer will score the tying run. A critical error by second baseman Josh Rutledge.
And to make things worse, Mookie Betts in center field was off the mark. Short hop Sandoval, and it went right into the Royals dugout. Just what they needed.
This had 2 all over it.
Yeah, he just misjudged it. He was thinking about tagging that base and getting an unassisted double play there before he caught the ball, and sometimes that happens. Haas challenging Betts. I like that. That was good, aggressive. Now, Betts thought he had a chance to throw him out, but Haas said, I'm going to challenge you. And when you run the bases with aggression like that, when you're aggressive, that causes mistakes, forces the hand of the defense, and sometimes they miss, just like we saw. Take advantage of that.
2 errors on 1 play, and we were talking about the trouble with their pitching staff. They've also had trouble defensively. That was their 75th and 76th errors this year. and that is in the bottom half of the American League defensively. And there's a smash to right center field, and the Royals will take the lead on a Moustakas double. Morales scores from second. The Royals have their first lead of the game at 3-2.
Way to make them pay, Moose. 22nd double, and it was well struck on the outer half. He's able to get out there and reach it, get his arms extended, and it was a no-doubter. A little flat slider. See, now he hadn't been throwing that much, and that's why it has lateral movement. It stays in the hitting zone. So when it's lateral, it's out there to be hit longer than if you have one that has some downward bite to it. It's still tougher to square that up.
And Carl Willis comes out to visit with young Eduardo Rodriguez. As good as he's been this year, Hud, he's still only 22 years old. And when he's been good, he's been very good. But there have been games where he's let the game get to him. And 4 starts, he's allowed 6 or more runs in a game. He's given up 3 thus far, and just in the 4th.
Well, second time through, they're starting to get to him, but his defense didn't help him at all. He had a double play right to Rutledge.
You might be thinking, I should be sitting in that dugout with a 2-1 lead. And now Rios comes up, who has 6 hits in this series. He scored the Royals' first run on a sac fly by Escobar. Strike 1. The Royals with 32 come from behind victories this year. Only Houston has more. And the Astros lead the West by 4 games starting the day over the Texas Rangers. Out of play. To jam him inside, missed just inside with that good fastball.
Well, that's where you want to put it on Rios right now in the little groove he's in. Everything now, he's been hitting to center and right field. You're trying to jam him, make him pull it again. And as hot as he is, he could make a mistake. Rios could pound one.
Alex punches it up the middle. Rutledge will field it and throw out Rios. Moving to third is Moustakas. Fans, we want you to support the arts and come out to the ballpark Saturday, September 5th for Arts Night at the K. Pre-game festivities will take place in the outfield experience, featuring an array of booths from the local art scene, a live chalk artist creating a Royals-inspired mural, and live music from local music group Victor and Penny. The purchase of this discounted ticket package provides a $5 donation to the Arts KC Fund. Visit Royals.com/special events to purchase today. Here is Omar Infante, single to right field last time up, and that set up the Royals' first run. Strike 1.
Rodriguez with 3 wild pitches this year. Always got to be alive for that. Moose is at third base. Royals a good aggressive base running team. Fundamentally sound. They do it very well. That's what happened, and Hosmer was able to force that run.
I remember when you and I came to the ball club in 2012, we were talking with Ned about the things that he wanted, and he said, well, I want to be the best base running team in the league. And they have done that. Rusty Kuntz, obviously very important to that. We can't wait to see Rusty tomorrow when we come back home. Hopefully he'll be at the K. A chopper. Sandoval reaches and tosses and just barely gets Infante at first base, but the Royals take advantage of Boston mistakes.
That's what speed does. Pressure. Good base running team. Haas gets that run himself. Atta baby.
Perez was getting beat up all game long and then takes that shot in the seventh. Head trainer Nick Canny came out, looked at a series of tests, and was able to determine that he was okay. Now, talking to Nick today, he said that he's looking for signs, symptoms of anything through eye movement, body language, but it doesn't just end there, because the way concussions can potentially work is that if you have something, the symptoms could get worse. So he checked in with Salvador Perez every inning from that point on to make sure that nothing was coming on. And that next half inning, Salvi came to the plate and reached on an error. And he said to Salvador before he went to the plate, "You're going to rule that he got hit there. I'm watching you. I'm going to be watching you when you run to first base, because that's when the motion, the movement of the head, that could bring on symptoms. I'm going to watch your balance. I'm going to make sure that you're okay." Then he ran to second base. Got him right in the elbow, it looks like, Hud.
Yeah.
So checking every little symptom, to something as simple as when Salvador came back in to put on his padding to go back out and catch, I want to make sure that you have your balance, that nothing is off with the equilibrium. Watching that all game long, and he passed all of those tests, because these symptoms can come on later. Checked out again just fine this morning. But a real fine line, and one that isn't just as simple, guys, as a quick eye test out there when it happens.
Yeah, Salvi said he felt rattled for about just 10 seconds.
Those things linger, and they keep an eye on them. They have much more knowledge on those concussions and what they can do to you, not just for the present, but also later in life.
Here is Rusney, Castillo. Volquez got a low strike call from home plate umpire Mike Everett. He would love to stay there and maybe get 2 outs in 1 pitch. He has been able to induce a lot of double plays this year. As a matter of fact, 16, one shy of his career best 17 last year with Pittsburgh. And he chops this one foul. And that's when Ray Searage, who was his pitching coach with the Pirates, said, "I want to see you get back to that good sinker I used to see in your Cincinnati days." And he started throwing it more. And he had a wonderful season last year with a 3.04 ERA and throwing that sinker along with the change and breaking ball this year to a 3.2 ERA. Off speed, 1-2. Castillo, a real talent. They signed to a 7-year deal in the offseason. He defected from Cuba in 2013. Hitting .342 since his recall. Popped up right side. Not much foul territory here at Fenway. That's an out in Oakland, but we are in Boston. We have the least amount of foul territory here and the most in the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Castillo with a infield hit first time up. That extended his hit streak now to 8 straight games. Where he is able to get underneath those low pitches.
You know, he's keeping his hands inside the ball. He doesn't want to roll over and pull one on the infield and roll up into a double play. That's his thinking. He's thinking a large part of the field.
So it came inside with that sinker. This is low, 2-2.
Bogaerts doing a good job here to keeping that ball down in the zone, trying to get that double play. See where all those pitches are located. Nice, down in that lower part of the strike zone where you want it. There it is.
Escobar, a 6, a 4, and a 3 double play.
Yep, finally got Castillo to cooperate.
And that ties his career high with his 17th double play that he's forced opponents to ground into this year.
Yeah, Bogaerts, for the most part, has really worked that bottom half of the strike zone for sure. Now, some of those hits they got on him, and he scored a couple runs there in that second inning there, was pretty good hitting, although a couple of them were elevated. They weren't out over the middle of the part of the plate, so you got to credit that offense. But for the most part, Bogaerts keeping that ball down today.
Against a hot team. Hanigan takes it inside. We saw Ventura throw a shutout baseball until the 6th last night. Then he gave up a run on a ground out, scoring Bogaerts. But quite frankly, Ventura did a very good job against this team that had been averaging close to 8 runs per game in the last week and a half. Foul. Oh my gosh, that is one of the strangest signs we've ever seen in the ballpark. Ryan Hanigan stole my girl. Hanigan with a 3-1 count. Bogaerts was able to strike him out swinging in the second inning.
That weather now, that miss is starting to get a little bit heavy.
In there, 3-2. And you're right, Hud. Let's say it's a normal Sunday afternoon, temperatures in the mid-90s. You wonder if that shot by David Ortiz that he struck in the 3rd inning would have been out of here on a warm day, but it's very cool.
It's a heavy marine layer that they got out here.
I mean, look at those kids. I mean, it was expected to be near 90. That was the forecast yesterday. In there. How about that? Hanigan doesn't like the low strike call, but Everett gives it to Volquez, and Eddie gets strikeout number 4 on the day.
Hanigan, you got to go.
The 4th inning, Eric Hosmer started it with a single, and then what should have been a double play resulted in 2 errors, and the Royals took advantage and took a 3-2 lead. Moustakas with his double. The Royals now in front 3-2. There's the game summary. Royals scoring 1 in the 3rd and 2 in the 4th. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler. We're joined now by Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. And Monty, usually on a Sunday afternoon, it is warm, it's humid. The mist is coming in the fog. What's it like for a pitcher to pitch in these kind of conditions?
Well, one thing that's important, Fizz, is you got to have a grip, and sometimes this can kind of sneak up on you. It doesn't really feel like it's that wet, but actually your body kind of gets that little mist on top of it, and it is. You have a really good extra sweat going, I guess I'll call it. The
other thing I'm sure you're aware of is that, oh, how about that shot by Butera down the line? And Drew will go for 2 and make it to second base with a double. But Monty, it seems like Mike Everett calling that low strike and Volquez attacking that low zone.
Well, he's known for being down on the strike zone. All 3 of his pitches, his changeup, his curveball, and his fastball, he can work down in the lower part of the zone. And certainly in this ballpark, that's a very good game plan.
Meantime, Hud, Butera with 2 quality at bats. First 2 times up.
That's right. Sacrifice bunt, turned into a run. Now it's a clean double. See if Escobar can work him over. Hit a ball to the right side, or, he might bunt.
The corners are in. Escobar does bunt. And the lefty throws to first base as Escobar moves Butera to third base, and the Royals playing small ball that resulted in a run back in the 3rd inning.
Nice to see him pull that small ball out of their pocket here. That's 2 sacrifice bunts and a sacrifice fly. Has resulted in 1 run, and maybe now they'll get another one here. Monty, the lefty Eduardo Rodriguez, he's got a real nice, smooth delivery. I like this guy's ceiling. It's a high ceiling. I think this guy has a chance to be really good at only 22 years old.
Yeah, one thing I like about him, he's very smooth with his delivery on his arm stroke, and it's just one of those things. It's almost like Yordan Ventura. It's an effortless velocity that he's able to create.
His changeup has been good.
Ben Zobrist 0 for 2 with a pop-up and ground out, and the Red Sox infield playing halfway with Butera at third base, and right now Drew communicating with Mike Jersley. Foul. 0-2.
Not sure Rodriguez quite has the velocity of a Yordano Ventura, but I watched some of his game he had against the Indians in his last start, and he was hitting 96 on a lot of his pitches. So he's got it in there to really kind of climb the ladder on that velocity.
Gave up just 1 run in 8 innings against Cleveland, but again threw a career-high 114 pitches in that 9-1 victory. In the dirt. But I wanted to ask you about Ben Zobrist. Here's a guy behind in the count, but has only struck out 35 times this year. What does he do that makes him so successful in these situations?
He shortens up his swing. He's going to try to use the whole field. He's not going to try to pull. He's going to just try to put that ball in play. Now the infielders here, they're halfway, but he's got 2 strikes on him. So really he's just going to be protective up there. And try to lay off of that changeup away. That's what he's going to go for here. Try to get him to swing out of the zone.
Ben may have broken his bat. Yep.
Zobrist is that, with 2 strikes, he shortens that swing. It can be really pesky. .333 this year with a runner in scoring position for Zobrist. And that's his numbers in a Royals uniform. Like to pick that run up.
That bounces in the dirt, but does not run far enough away from Hanigan to allow Butera to score from third base. Rodriguez has gotten a lot of ground outs in this contest. 9 of his outs recorded on ground outs, but 2 of them on sacrifices. Shortstop Bogaerts moved back a little bit with 2 strikes. Hit sharply, but Rutledge gathers it in and throws out Ben. So the Royals will have to do what they're known to do best, and Lorenzo Cain, one of the best 2-out hitters in the game. As a matter of fact, he's number 1 in the American League, hitting .388 with 2 outs. Trying to get Butera home, who doubled to start the inning, sacrificed to third by Escobar. Cain, his first pitch swinging. Foul. Strike 1. Now he has Lorenzo down in the count 0-2, grazing that outside corner perfectly. The fastball in the low 90s. That changeup was first taught to him by Johan Santana, the way Santana gripped it. And that was his hero growing up in Venezuela. It's a pitch he likes to go to with 2 strikes on a batter. He was at spring training, and Santana showed him how he gripped that baseball, and then he said Bob Kipper, pitching coach here in the Red Sox and Baltimore organization, helped him improve it.
There's a pretty good shortstop here by the name of Nomar Garciaparra that used to mess with his gloves all the time. Lorenzo Cain, he does that too. he'll pull the fingers in his glove, and then every time he'll adjust them. See, after every swing and every pitch, he'll pull the fingers out. He'll rip the top part of that Velcro glove and then put it back together. Sometimes that is a habit you get into. And
you see Hosmer doing it too. Coming inside. Lorenzo did hold up just barely for a 2-2 count. Rodriguez thought he had strike 3.
That's inside.
He had a pitch set up very nicely. He'd gone away, and then comes inside.
So what usually comes next after that one?
I'd say he's going to probably throw the changeup.
Yep. Typically, they try to bust you in. They get you looking in there and then work it away. We'll see when Hanigan throws. They're going to come back in there again.
Just barely fouled off by Lorenzo, and it was the off-speed pitch.
It's a pretty good command.
I'll
put your changeup inside there like he wanted it.
Not too many guys throw that changeup in that location. Gutierrez still at third, trying to bring the Royals their 4th run. Good battle. Kane getting that pitch count up now at 73 pitches as Rodriguez trying to get through 5 innings. So now Hanigan goes out for a visit to say, like when one of your catchers would come out to you, Jeff, what was the conversation in this situation usually about?
Sometimes they want to kind of be sure what you're thinking. They want to, you want to be on the same page so that you have that conviction when you throw the pitch, regardless of what it is. And I know as a pitcher that had to throw a variety of pitches, sometimes a little more complicated than maybe say just a fastball type pitcher. So you got to be on the same page.
For Lorenzo Cain, he's been fighting off those close ones. He's waiting for the mistake.
They're coming back in. And he breaks his bat and lines out to Sandoval. Great duel, but the Royals leave Gutierrez stranded at third base. And we want you to spend your Labor Day holiday at the K as we honor the military with the Royals Armed Forces Night presented by Budweiser. On Monday, September 7th, arrive early for a pregame ceremony honoring our servicemen and women prior to the game against the Twins. Get your tickets today at Royals.com or by calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. So here in the bottom of the 5th, Volquez to face Jackie Bradley, Josh Rutledge, and then back to the top of the order. But the bottom of the order has been tough on Kansas City in this series. And Bradley and Rutledge did the damage in the 2nd inning to drive in the 2 runs.
See Edinson Volquez throwing that 2nd pitch. He made the adjustment. He made his 1st pitch and he kind of motioned to himself, got to get on top, got to finish. As a result, the pitch was up. That pitch he gets right back in the count with a nice changeup.
So, Monty, I'd like to see some internal competition amongst the starters, and I think we're starting to see that. Now, Ventura picked up Cueto and Duffy, and now Volquez is getting the baton from Ventura, and he doesn't want the young man to show him up. So that's kind of how that works, and you hope to see that here as we move along with this nice 5-man rotation that we're getting now.
Yeah, and I always say you don't want to be the weak link in the chain. You want to be the guy that's able to kind of keep that thing going. And at some point the chain's going to break, but you don't want to be the guy that's standing on a mound when it does.
Great pitch by Volquez, an off-speed pitch, and Bradley way out in front. That strikeout number 5 for Eddie Volquez.
Looks like it's going to be a changeup here down below the strike zone. Real nice finish. Got on top. Nice downward movement. Eddie has a lot of downward life on all of his pitches, especially that changeup.
Yeah, we talked about that 170 batting average against the changeup, 180 against the curveball. And now facing Rutledge, who singled his last time up, takes a breaking ball in the outside corner. We were talking with Ned Yost before the ball game about the triumvirate of the Dominican pitchers, Volquez, Cueto, and Ventura, all getting together talking during the games. Even when Yordano was starting, he would come back and sit, and he goes, and I just let them talk, because it's really a wonderful conversation as they're both mentoring young Ventura. And what can a veteran offer a younger pitcher?
Well, I think already you've seen some positive impact from having Johnny Cueto around Yordano Ventura. I think he's learning from him, and you've even seen him kind of incorporate that kind of quick pitch that Johnny Cueto utilizes. So I think he's going to be a very stabilizing influence on Yordano Ventura. But you want to talk to him about, trust your stuff. You've got really good stuff. Believe in yourself. Kind of like Raul Ibanez did with his team last year when they had the meeting in Chicago. Just make them aware of how good they really are. And then hopefully that translates into confidence that they carry onto the mound.
Yeah, that was the conversation that Raul had with the team when he said, as an outsider, as a member of the Oakland A's, he said, the conversation we had about the Royals was, you're a dangerous team. You need to start playing dangerously. And I think the same thing is true with Ventura. Cueto might be telling him, your stuff's better than mine. Why aren't you better than me?
Yeah.
Give him some time.
Yeah.
He will be. Dave Island thinks he might be the best one of all three of them. Eventually.
Still just turned 24 in the month of June.
Saw that pitch by Edinson Volquez he just executed. It was a get-me-over breaking ball. It wasn't the breaking ball that puts hitters away. We saw that a lot from Yordano Ventura last night. So he's absorbing and he's understanding that he doesn't have to throw a perfect pitch every time. Again, trust your stuff when you're on the mound. Let the hitters get themselves out occasionally.
And Rex and I were talking about it last night. Obviously, you and Joel talked about it in post-game, and then Salvador talked about it with Joel in the post-game as well. How calm Ventura, and I think we were all the most impressed with that he just looked under control.
He looked confident too. Ned talked about swagger.
Yeah.
See, there was a breaking ball he throws off the plate to try to get that strike 3. You don't have to throw a strike there. Let the hitter chase that pitch, get himself out.
Betts has a history of diving for the outside pitches. I wonder if Volquez might come inside with that sinker. Well, he's going to stay away. And he got him to pop up. Omar Infante. Volquez with a 1-2-3 5th inning. Ronnie, thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.
Our Sonic Slam inning, won by Escobar, and then again last night it was Salvador Perez with this 3-run shot. The 6th inning is our Sonic Slam inning, and today our contestant is Rich Nowak from Leawood, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Rich will win $100, but if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Rich will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Well, it's Sunday, it's the 6th inning. Rex Hudler, Steve Physiak. That means we're also joined by the Hall of Famer, Denny Matthews. Great to have you with us at historic Fenway Park.
Historic, yes. And it looks today like we're in downtown London with the fog and the mist. And we should be reading a good Sherlock Holmes novel today, sitting by the fire.
Maybe a little Edgar Allan Poe, although he was from Baltimore.
Yep.
But do you have any wonderful memories about this ballpark, about great Royals, Red Sox games here?
You know, the Royals came into Fenway starting in 1969 and did not win a game the first 9 times they played here. Ooh. So they were 0 for 9, won a game, and then won 9 more. So then they won 10 straight. So how about that? One extreme to the other.
I mean, back when you started, Carl Yastrzemski was patrolling left field. That had to be fun. There were some great Boston teams, some great offenses, some pretty good pitching staffs as well in this small ballpark.
Oh, yeah. They were good teams. That's why they beat the Royals so many. Look who's here.
Eric Hosmer leading things off for the Royals. He is 1 for 2 today, and he flips that one foul. It will be Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas here in the 6th inning for Kansas City. Eduardo Rodriguez, the 22-year-old lefty, nearing the 80 pitch mark. Oh, tough pitch there. And he strikes out Haas.
Denny, this has been quite a road trip for you. All the rain delays, the late arrival, everything. What's that do for you, Denny? I mean, you're not used to going on a lot of road trips, but you're all right. You seem you're keeping your step going.
Well, I'm doing my best. You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm doing fine too. But I tell you, those 5 o'clock arrivals, they affect you no matter what age.
No, that's exactly right. We found out all about that last October, didn't we?
Oh man, that was quite an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really has become different. I mean, the evolution of the game back in, well, before the 60s, a 154 game season, a lot of doubleheaders, and also, Denny, the games were so much shorter. I mean, I remember you and I were doing a Chicago game, and you said, Steve, take a look at the 1918 World Series with maybe 17 World Series with the Chicago White Sox, time of the game, and then the 59 World Series, and then their 2005, and it seemed like every era it changed like 1 more hour per game.
Yeah, the evolution of the game, everything changes, and so too baseball, and it's just a natural progression of things. So
more bullpen usage now.
Oh, that's, you bet.
Yeah, more pitching changes.
You bet. That's been one of the biggest things.
Well, here is Kendrys Morales, has been on once, reaching on the error by Josh Rutledge, and another Sandoval great play. That's the 2nd time he has robbed Morales of a hit.
Good play. He doesn't look like your typical third baseman.
I was going to say the same thing. He does not look like Brooks Robinson.
No.
But he's made the plays. And now Mike Moustakas, whose double gave the Royals a 3-2 lead. You know, my dad grew up in Salem, Massachusetts. His favorite player was Ted Williams. And he remembers coming back from World War II, where he served in the U.S. Marines. And in 1946, he thought his Red Sox were going to win the World Championship. Instead, they had to play the Cardinals, and Enos Slaughter scored that game winner, and that kind of broke his heart. so many years, Boston looked like they were going to be the team. They won that American League in '46. But Slaughter's dash got them.
Don't you wish, guys, that we could have seen Ted Williams?
They say the greatest hitter of all time.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing, reading. That's what I'm saying. It'd be great to have seen him.
And I hear a lot of old scouts. Art Stewart, one of them, said, what if Williams played at Yankee Stadium and Joe DiMaggio played at Fenway Park? What would their numbers have been?
Well, they weren't too bad with the way they finished up. But yeah, you hear that all the time. And it's something that we will never know.
And Teddy Ballgame, of course, missed almost 5 years because of service time in World War II and Korea.
Correct.
Eduardo Rodriguez nearing 90 pitches. We told you he threw a career high 114 that last start, and we wondered how he'd bounce back, and quite frankly, he's done a good job. Velocity's been right there in his command. Stays 2-2.
Well, the difference in the game, and we say it all the time, it's not the double plays you make, it's the double plays that you don't that come back to bite you. Well, the Red Sox botched a double play, top of the fourth. It led to 2 Royals runs. Royals turned a double play in the bottom of the fourth. Royals made the double play. Red Sox didn't. Scoreboard says Royals 3, Boston 2.
How many times have the plays that you do not make cost your team? And that looked like sure ending double play. And for a moment, Rodriguez, I'm sure, was thinking, I should be in the dugout protecting a 2-1 lead, and of course the next batter, Moustakas, rips a laser liner to right center field to break the then 2-2 tie.
Yeah, 2 errors on one play are going to get you every time.
And Carl Willis immediately came out, the pitching coach for Boston, to visit with Rodriguez and settle him down, which he did as he got out of that 4th inning with ground outs by Rios and Infante. And an error by Rutledge, an error by Betts.
You know, pitching coaches, managers, you know this, they evaluate how a pitcher faces adversity. Does he bounce back? Well, this lefty has. After the adversity that he faced in the 4th inning, he's pitched a good 5th inning and now on his way to, I'm sure he would hope, a 1-2-3-6. So they're going to say, well, you know what? He's mentally tough. He's got some mindset there that's going to say, I'm going to battle you. I don't care what happens behind me. I can't do anything about my defense, good, bad, or indifferent. So it's an evaluation process.
Moose hits it high and deep and gone. An opposite field home run by Mike Moustakas has given the Royals a 4-2 lead.
The Moose calls are out. Fans from Kansas City thrilled to see Moose going opposite field over the Green Monster. He's had some kind of at bat here, fouling off pitch after pitch. Finally, Rodriguez left it cooking out over the outer half of the plate. Moose with a good easy pass gets his 2nd home run of the year to the opposite field. His first home run was his first hit of the year, Denny. At the Cave, he went opposite field for his first homer, and you know, that's a beautiful swing there.
You try to pull that pitch while it's a 1-2-3 inning for Hernandez.
And it's our 3rd straight game where we have a Sonic Slam winner. Rich Nowak from Leewood, Kansas wins $100, so congratulations to Rich. And here is Rios taking a strike. Well, here's the kid bouncing back from adversity, and he immediately gets Rios 0-2. Well, that answers the question that Dale Swaim asked. Hey, we went to the opposite field against a right-handed pitcher. How are we going to do against a lefty? And Rodriguez to a lefty, Moustakas, and Mike did not try and pull it.
Wade Boggs made a pretty good living tattooing that left field wall.
Did he ever? And for a power hitter, left-handed power hitter, I thought Mo Vaughn did the same. So does David Ortiz use that to his advantage.
Sure. Yeah, dead left left center. Pretty inviting target.
That's why they made it 37 feet tall. They didn't want to have that many cheap home runs. And here's a Rios smash to right field, and that will be over the head of Castillo. And Alex will cruise into second base with his 7th hit of this series.
Rios, another outstanding inside-out swing. He's starting to figure it out. Instead of trying to pull off the ball and pull, he's using the other half of the field, and that inside pitch there, he thought it was an out.
Yeah, he threw the bat down a little disgusted. He didn't realize that ball was taken off.
He squared it up, I'll tell you that, even though opposite field.
It's interesting because most guys know, I would imagine, Hud, when you hit the ball well, that you got yourself a knock, but as soon as he swung the bat and it looked like he struck it well, he flipped the bat away in disgust, thinking, well, that is out number 3. Instead, it's his 7th hit. He's got a single and a double in the afternoon.
I'm surprised he reacted like that, because hitters know if they hit it cleanly or not. The ball was well struck.
You saw Alexi Ogando warming up in the Boston bullpen. Mist continues to fall here at Fenway Park as Infante digs in. He's 1 for 2 and takes a low strike. Well, Volquez has been getting that call. So too does Rodriguez. He's thrown 97 pitches.
Infante ought to be a much more relaxed hitter after the hit that he got last night, snapping that long offer.
Yeah, and he got that rest after having back spasms. And when he told Ned Yost, I'm good to go, Ned said, well, I'm going to give you another day. And Ned does that a lot. He said usually an athlete who's coming back from an injury is hungry to get back in there. And so I always give them one more day. And he looks a little fresher.
Longest offer in Royals history? 0 for 44.
By
Joe Keogh.
I remember Joe Keogh. He knocked in the first game-winning run in Royals history. And a victory over the Minnesota Twins back in '69. 0 for 44. Yikes.
Ouch.
That's painful.
Man.
Pinella went 4 for 5.
Where's the bleeder when you need it?
Exactly. Broken bat bloop.
Denny, I've got to tell you, I was at Hawker Grove Junior High School listening to you and Buddy Blattner call those early games, and got in trouble with a teacher. I sure was happy. I sure was happy when Joe Keogh got that game-winning hit.
How can anybody get in trouble listening to
I couldn't agree with you more.
My gosh.
And then you and Fred for so many years.
Should have trained those teachers a little better.
Well, back in the day, and you know what, they have all this social media, and that you can listen to the ball game on your phone now, but we had the little transistor radio, and you'd run the wire up your, through your shirt into your ear, and you'd kind of lean on your side as you're listening to the ball game, not paying attention to what the teacher had to say. This is back to school, and I'm giving all these secrets that I should be giving out.
That's unlike you, Fizz. I'm a little surprised to hear that.
Well, my grades suffered that year, but as I've told Denny in the past, that first year I was so excited that Major League Baseball came back to Kansas City that I listened to every single game of Buddy Blattner and Denny Matthews calling that '69 season.
In school.
In school, out of school, late at night. There were times where, if you were West Coast Denny, I fell asleep before the game was over.
Yeah, so did Fred and I once in a while.
Infante shoots it foul. Rios good speed at second base. Well, the kid now at 101 pitches. That young man found himself a souvenir.
Yeah, I'd say this has been a learning experience for the Red Sox lefty and a learning experience for their manager and coaching staff and front office. He's been inconsistent. He's pitched some very, very good games, and he's had games where he's given up 6 or more runs. So one extreme to the other, that's a young pitcher.
Yeah, I saw those numbers. 8 starts allowing 1 or 0 runs, 4 starts allowing 6 or more runs.
There you go.
Another fine play by Sandoval. Infante is out, but the Royals push the lead to 4-2.
Somebody call the park ranger.
The Moose is loose here at Fenway.
As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag KC Data Strong for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler with Denny Matthews. And there's some delighted fans we hope to see at the K when we return home. A 4-game series with Baltimore starting tomorrow through Thursday. And Denny, from what you've watched from Volquez, not only this year, but in this game, what do you like?
His consistency, experience, know-how, what's the word now, pitchability.
Kane plays it off the monster, and Sandoval has himself a stand-up double to open the bottom of the 6th inning. Sandoval's been hurting the Royals defensively in this game, and now offensively coming through.
Ooh, that's a quick reaction right there. Nice hands.
Yeah, well, it's a good play. Getting down and dirty.
Yeah, this is a dangerous team, their offense. So explosive. No lead is safe in this small ballpark. And now Bogaerts will bunt. Volquez will throw him out. And that surprised me a little bit.
I don't know about that.
As hot as that kid has been.
Your number 3 hitter, you're down 4-2. It's the 6th inning and you're bunting. He had to do that on his own.
Yeah, obviously he did. It's almost like a gift for Volquez.
Oh. Here's an out. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Here's Brian Butterfield visiting with Sandoval.
I would imagine somebody's visiting with Bogaerts in the dugout.
Yeah, he's only 22 years old. Very bright young man, and I'm sure trying to help out the team, but sometimes it is best to go ahead and swing away. We were just talking about the dimensions of this ballpark, and Bogaerts with 60 RBIs and a .344 hitter at home.
And even with that short porch in left field, it's pretty hard to bunt one up on the Green Monster. Where they had him swinging away at the 37-foot high wall. That was.
Royals will play their infield back with Ortiz up. They'll give up a run to get the out. 3 infielders right side, 1 on the left. Strike 1.
Yeah, see, that bunt didn't even get the infield in. And so it got you 90 feet, but you're down to 6th inning. That's just not good thinking.
And with the Royals bullpen.
Yeah.
Good pitch by Volquez. Went with that breaking ball and looked like Ortiz was seeking the fastball.
Now we had light mist. Now is this heavy mist or light rain?
It depends on where you are. If it's London, it's light mist.
Yeah, and the drops aren't real big, so I would say it's a light mist.
Okay.
Ortiz to left field. Zobrist back at the wall, pulls it down. Sandoval will tag and come home, and it's a 4-3 game. Kansas City's lead is just 1, but that is one professional at bat by Ortiz.
Yep, he was looking for that high pitch, and so was Butera. And I think Ortiz gave up on pulling it and just went with it.
Thought for a moment he might have it off the monster.
Well, Bogaerts can think, well, you know what, at least I helped get the run there.
Yep.
Ball 1 to Shaw. This is a young man with very good power. Struck out his first time, and then Volquez hit him on the back elbows. Second at bat.
Yeah, when he had squared the bunt. So he got clipped.
And he had to prove him being hit on the elbow to home plate umpire Mike Everett to show him the damage.
He had the DNA evidence right there.
Exactly. There's a strike.
This is a very nice TV set in front of me.
Yeah, this is the high definition.
We were talking in Cincinnati where we didn't have high definition, and we get to Boston here, and it makes a big difference.
Back in the big leagues.
Volquez with the 2-2, and Shaw with a base hit to right field, and Rios struggling with it in the corner, and Travis will make it to second base with a double. Boy, he has shown his ability to hit that ball down in the zone and below the zone.
This is a tough ballpark for outfielders, especially if you're not familiar with it. How many nooks and crannies are there in this ballpark? I mean, go from the left field foul pole all the way around how many nooks and crannies and curves you have to deal with.
You've got the big garage door in center field. You've got the light bulbs in left and the scoreboard and the ladder in left field. It's crazy.
Got the bullpens in right center and right field.
You go from a 37-foot wall to a 17-foot wall in center to then just a 3-4 foot wall in right.
Got the speakers in dead center field. You've got the pesky pole and the fist pole.
Base hit right field. This could tie the game. Rios up and throwing. Cut off by Hosmer. They'll get that man Castillo in a rundown.
Eventually.
And Moustakas holds onto the baseball and tags him out. But we are back to square one as Volquez gives up 2 in the 6th. Came up with a couple of runs in that last frame to tie it up at 4. And now we will see a battle of the bullpens, perhaps, because coming out is Alexi Ogando. Meantime, the DraftKings players to watch, you can go to DraftKings.com and enter the promo code BRoyal. Hosmer 1 for 3 today with a run scored. Brian McCann of the Yankees is 0 for 3 with all 3 times up he struck out. Jose Reyes, the last 5 games, hitting .409. And Taijuan Walker, not bad, averaging a strikeout per inning. And our Chevy call to the bullpen, right-hander Alexi Ogando. He faced 2 batters in the 8th inning on Thursday against the Royals. Got ZOBRIST to ground out and walk Kane before being lifted for Ross.
He's got a big power fastball, mid to upper 90s. He'll go with that pitch, slider and a split finger.
Drew Butera with a sacrifice and a double today.
The call to the bullpen for the Red Sox has not always been a good one this year. Do you realize they have given up 59 home runs, their bullpen? Ooh, more than any team in baseball. 59.
And they have an earned run average as a pen almost 2 full runs higher than Kansas City's, and the Royals obviously with the best bullpen in the game, a 2.32 ERA. And the Royals really have pitched well. They did give up a couple of runs last night and won it 6-3. Ogando is a guy mid-90s fastball, HUD, and I don't think if he tried he could throw the ball straight. It just seems like everything's sliding, sinking, moving.
He's a big, tall guy, so he's 6'4". He's able to get a nice little downhill plane angle to his pitches.
Foul back our way.
Daniel Ogando, he's one of those relievers that's had a hard time keeping it in the yard. 12 home runs he's given up in 52 innings.
Middle of the plate. Dangerous for the pen.
As a matter of fact, he's only allowed 24 runs this year, but 19 are by way of the home run. 2 3-run shots, 3 2-run home runs, 7 solos. I was hoping to jump on him, and you see hits per 9 innings in relief. Boston second to Detroit, and their bullpen the last few years, historic demise for the Tigers, and they called that strike 3. Cruz said, "Oh man, I hope my pitcher gets that."
Right on the edge.
Fans get to the K on Sunday, September 6th, as we celebrate Mike Sweeney and his iconic career with a limited edition Royals Hall of Fame bobblehead sponsored by Commerce Bank. The first 10,000 fans at the gates will receive a piece of history featuring the 26th inductee into the exclusive club. Arrive early as gates are scheduled to open at 11:30. Go to Royals.com to get those tickets. Here's Escobar. Royals 3-2 on this road trip. They would love to go home, going 4-2, and with a win they would push their record back to a season best 27 games over 500. And it's a strike, a low strike, but a call. And all the pitchers are trying to go there. And Esky saying, "Didn't you think that was about the shins?"
That's as good a place as you can put a slider.
Might as well stay right there after getting that call.
Tried.
Escobar with a couple of sacrifices today. One a sacrifice fly where he knocked in his 39th run. And then after Butera doubled, he sacrificed him to third base. Tommy Lane, the left-hander, very likely getting ready for Hosmer, Morales, Moustakas. A 3-2 count.
Looks like Ogando's having a hard time with his footing out there. Keeps dusting his feet off, kicking at the mound and the rubber, getting that dirt off of that mud. This mist is starting to really make some claws on the bottom of guys' cleats and sticking.
And the grounds crew was out before he took the mound, and they were dropping that diamond dust, trying to keep things dry around the mound and on the bases. There's a grounder up the middle, and it will be an infield hit for Escobar, so he is 1 for 2, and the Royals have a guy on with good speed here in the 7th. Perfectly placed.
Yeah, Ogando, I don't know if that caught his fingers or not. He thought about it and then tried to pull him away, but it's fortunate that it didn't catch his fingers.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I mean, instinct says do it. Your brain says no, that's probably not a good thing. It's pretty easy to stick one of your fingers into that baseball, and now you're out for 6 weeks.
Exactly.
Escobar not running as much as he did last year, but he's had some injuries. Most notably, the injury suffered against the Oakland A's back in April when Fred Laurie took him out at second base. Missed a couple of days. This is a guy who plays practically every day, and now Ben Zobrist at the plate.
Ogando, obviously, he recited his numbers, makes some mistakes in the center of the plate. Maybe Zobrist can pick one out right here and get Escobar home, snap the tie.
Ben, 4 of his 10 home runs have come with Kansas City, and he's barely been with them 3 weeks. Good in the clutch. Zobrist playing left field today for Kansas City, and we told you the Royals all-star left fielder Alex Gordon, he is starting his rehab today down in the minor leagues. Designated hitter today, and then he said he'd play left field tomorrow, and then go back and forth DH left field until he's ready to come back with the team. But he'll be a great add to that outfield. And his value, Ben's, is the fact that he can move all around the diamond. Great trump card for Ned Yost. He does not show much enthusiasm for the wave.
Looks like he just got off a fishing trawler.
Lobsters. Zobrist with that keen eye. And that pitch barely missed.
Well, that's a tough take right there.
Sure is. You want to put that ball in play somewhere, but maybe he'll get him a cookie.
And that pitch is low. Now the count's full, 3-2. Now Ogando might split his attention with Escobar, who might be running on a 3-2 count. So maybe Ogando would make a mistake where Zobrist can drive it.
Ogando wanted that call bad.
Yeah, and that's a good spot to put it in, sure. I mean, he's probably saying, man, all right, if I don't want to walk him, I got to groove one right down the middle. That's what Zobrist is looking for.
Zobrist, a good contact guy.
Jackie Bradley in right field, he's really close to that right field line. He's playing him to pull. And all the outfielders are. They're swung over, believing they'll get Zobrist to pull Ogando.
Escobar does go, and the pitch is fouled off.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Why not? Why not run? What's the drawback?
Well, yeah, because Ben makes good contact. It's not like he's a swing and miss guy.
This has 35 strikeouts this season and 314 at bats.
And if he can gap one, Escobar could score all the way from first base. He goes again. The pitch is fouled off again. Nice backhanded play by the ball girl down that right field line. Royals won 2 in Cincinnati, lost the first 2 here in Boston, and then won last night 6-3.
Getting a little sticky out there on the infield. You see everybody now trying to make sure the mud isn't in between the spikes.
It's moist, it's damp, and that really affects that play of the infielders and outfielders when they throw it.
Zobrist with a fly ball to right. Castillo will make the catch. And Escobar back to first base. 2 out.
Been a little unhappy with that at bat. He had a fairly hittable pitch right there.
You know, Gondo might be facing his final batter. He's thrown 22 pitches in this inning. And you've got the lefty Hosmer up next, and Tommy Lane. We saw him warming down in that Boston bullpen. Kane had a great duel with Butera at third base with the starting pitcher Rodriguez in the 5th inning, and then broke his bat and hit a line drive to the third baseman Sandoval. Lorenzo 12 home runs, 54 driven in this year. Mighty rip. Let's strike 1. Gondo at one time was a starting pitcher in the Texas Rangers organization, and they liked his future in 2011, won 13 games. They tried him in the pen, they started him, and now Boston using him entirely out as a reliever.
Going way away, trying to.
And Lorenzo Kane noticed that. He said Boston, more than any other team, worked us away soft. I mean, changeup, curveball, but away.
Yeah, and when the catcher goes that far outside, now obviously you don't want the hitter to look back to cheat to see where they're setting up, but you could see that out of the corner of your eye. If you're setting up way out there, Lorenzo doesn't have to look back to see that.
Escobar going, and the throw goes into center field. Esky off for third. He will make it. That's the 3rd error in this game by Boston's defense.
Escobar, he'll take his 13th swipe of the year. A good jump. Hanigan way off the mark. Rutledge doing all he could to try to keep it in front of him. You see Escobar sliding on his right side. That protects your face from any errant throw like that, and also it gives you a better view of the outfield if it does get through.
And Kane takes one behind his back that clipped him, perhaps on the shoulder blade.
Tenth time Locane's been plucked this year.
Well, that's kind of Ogando in a nutshell. Just very erratic, very inconsistent.
And that means we will see a pitching change here. The lefty Tommy Lane was preparing for Hosmer, so it will be Lane versus Hosmer when we come back. third, and the new pitcher will be left-hander Tommy Lane. Lefty's only batting 159 against him, 11 for 69. This is our Chevy call to the bullpen, but last night he finished and pitched that ninth inning and threw a scoreless ninth, gave up a leadoff hit to Kane, and then faced Hosmer, Hud, and Haas hit into a double play.
Well, it's 2 outs now. Haas going to use that whole field like he's been doing most of the year. Most of his hits coming to center field. He got one earlier today with a clean base hit back in the 4th inning. Ended up scoring one of the 2 Royals runs.
Yeah, that hit in the 4th inning was a blur. That thing was, talk about squaring one up.
Yeah, you know, lots of times we'll get the hit speed off the bat. We didn't have it available, but I imagine that was 110 miles an hour off the bat at least. 100 to 110. He didn't miss it. He'll take another one of those here. Lousy single. Of course, he'd like to follow what his buddy Moose did. He wants to stay away from that breaker. That's what Tommy Lane's going to throw him. He's got a cut fastball, 86 to 91. Big curve, changeups. And he'll be saving those change mainly for righties.
He pitched him that same way last night, inside with the fastball. And as you said, Hud, with either the breaking ball or the cutter away. Haas hitting .372 since the All-Star break. 16 extra base hits. And he sends a slow roller to the shortstop, and Bogaerts will throw out Hosmer by just a step. Well, Denny Matthews, thank you very much.
Always fun.
Say hi to Rhino.
I will.
Four this week against the Royals, but the Miguel Sano show is off to a great start. That was in the 1st inning, a home run, the 11th homer for him in his 44th big league game here. Royals and Red Sox fans singing "Take Me Out to the Ballgame." This
Man, the Orioles have lost 3 straight coming into today. And of course, tomorrow they'll be at the K. Chris Medlin will make his first start as a Royal. Jimenez will throw for Baltimore. And we hope to see all our fans out at Kauffman Stadium for all 4 games. It's a very short homestand. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are night games, and Thursday is an afternoon contest. Volquez stays in the game. He's thrown 6 innings, given up 4 runs, and 2 in that last inning really hurt because he was trying to protect a 4-2 lead, and he's done such a good job at that this year. This heavy mist continues to fall. It has affected both pitchers, and they continue to drop that diamond dust around the bases. Hanigan will lead things off as Volquez will work the bottom of the order. Hanigan, Bradley, Rutledge. Ryan, now 35 years of age, from Andover, Maryland. Volquez struck him out twice. Royals won last night 6-3 after losing the first 2 games of this series with the Red Sox by scores of 4-1 and 7-2. Strike one.
Show you some of the dirt and the moisture here on the bases, especially. It can be pretty slick. Conditions get like this.
Yeah, they said we might have rain today, but instead of rain, we got this heavy fog, and you can barely see downtown Boston. Usually we have a spectacular view of the city from Fenway Park. Hanigan with a base hit to left field, and his 2 biggest hits of this series have both come on 0-2 counts. The one in the opener, and an 0-2 pitch from Volquez here to start the bottom of the 7th inning.
Fastball there on the inner half, and he was able to meet it.
Yeah, Butera had set the target down low and below the strike zone in 0-2, but just got away from him. Franklin Morales beginning to warm up. You've got Bradley right now, and then Josh Rutledge to follow. Bradley 1 for 2 today. He doubled his first time. And he tries to sacrifice here. Actually tried to bunt for a base hit, but at least get that man in scoring position.
Yeah, you know, actually, tie game, it's not a bad idea, nobody out. As slick as that grass is, and you put a good bunt down, it might be tough to get a guy who could fly like Jackie Bradley Jr.
Advantage Volquez at 0-2. He had Hanigan down 0-2. Bradley will be tough to double. And he's a guy who now has 13 extra base hits in his last 11 games. He was recalled right before the trade deadline in late July. He's really played solid baseball ever since, hitting over 400. Breaking ball low. Boston traded one of their outfielders, Shane Victorino, to the Angels to acquire infield help, and got Josh Rutledge from the Angels. Pedroia, their starting second baseman, still on the disabled list, but he was taking batting practice yesterday and today. Past Hosmer down the right field line. Hanigan will make it to at least third. Now they're going to send him home. The throw to the plate is high, and Boston takes a 5-4 lead.
Jackie Bradley Jr., he will take that rather than that bunt base hit. That'll work. Rios did a nice job of sliding and before it got down around that corner there. He didn't want it to get by him, so he made sure that the ball didn't, but couldn't get it to Infante in time to get it. I'm going to take it a perfect throw.
Fans, we want you to know that you can follow live Royals baseball with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals all season wherever you are with the MLB.TV Game of the Day, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Just download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
I see another bunt here.
And Rutledge does get it down. Utera will go to first base. The sacrifice well executed by Rutledge on a tough pitch to bunt.
Seeing some small ball executed by both teams, and watch your fingers, man. Whoa, he almost got him, but he ends up putting a nice bunt down, but that ball just missed his fingers. He did a complete 360, turned around and looked up and saw that he got the job done. Infield's got to come in.
Here is Betts, who is 0 for 3. He's had such great success against Kansas City this year. Belted a home run in the 7th inning last night. Royals still won 6-3. This might be Volquez's last batter, as you saw Morales warming up in the pen, and you've got the lefty Sandoval next.
See Betts looking to go get some more pine tar, some stick 'em over there. Get the motor stick. It's a little bit slick. Make sure that you got a good grip.
Royals with their infield in. Volquez has done such a good job this year with runners in scoring position. This is a very difficult situation with the infield in and a hot hitter like Betts up. Rios with the catch. Bradley had to go back to the bag, so unable to tag and come home.
Wow, you know, Bradley, he wanted to, on contact, you got to go right back to third base on this. You know, you're going to score easily if the ball drops, but now he has no chance at all to go back and tag, and Rios would have made a nice play. And Betts is saying, rats. Like you got that run in, and then Yost has seen enough. They're getting a good piece of Eddie now.
We might mark that in our scorebook if the Royals come back and win this game. That was an opportunity for Boston to get their 6th run. Morales, he has to get the lefty Sandoval when we come back. match of the ALCS. Escobar went deep. Moustakas went deep, but Alex Gordon, I mean, what a game he had. He slugged the go-ahead home run in the 10th inning in Game 1 of the ALCS at Camden Yards, and also collected a bases-clearing double in the game to match the KC postseason record with 4 RBIs in the contest. The Royals were able to win it. George Brett and the fellas awfully happy. Glass family was cheering and partying down on the field as the Royals took care of the Orioles in 4 straight, and this is the matchup. It starts tomorrow night, Medellin against Ubaldo.
Yep, be nice to see the Birds come to town. Hopefully the Royals can come back in this one.
Franklin Morales pitching in his 52nd game, a sharp 2.37 ERA. Opponents only batting .217, and he's done a really nice job against lefties lately. Sandoval, a tough out. He started the trouble back in inning number 6. When the Sox tied the game, he doubled to start the 6th, was sacrificed to third and scored on Ortiz's sacrifice fly. Boston at home has been very impressive offensively. A little chopper. Morales will get there and throw it away. Sandoval doesn't run that well, Hutton. I thought Franklin panicked a little bit. He had more time than he thought he did.
Yeah, well, when he caught it, he didn't turn the easy way. He turned the hard way, and the ball has moisture. We talked about it being misty here all day long, and so watch him how he goes to it, and he turns, and he was in an awkward position to throw, and right after he threw it, he looked at his hands and has to say that it was a little slick. Now Ned's gonna say that Sandoval was inside the lane. That's what it's about. He's right. If we look at it again, Sandoval was running to the left of the line in on the grass. And that's got a pretty good argument here.
And Mike saying, no, it was a bad throw. And Ned goes, I don't care. He was inside the lane. And my pitcher did not have a good view. Couldn't see to try and read Ned's lips if he was saying, can you at least ask for help?
Okay, you see where Sandoval is. He's on the left side of that lane, and that's what Ned's complaint is.
Oh, yeah. He has a great argument.
Yeah, the whole way he was inside that line there.
So Boston gets a break. It was a bad throw by Morales, but you just wonder, Hud, if the angle of the throw, Sandoval's body was shielding his view. And you talked about it, obviously the moisture as the ball was rolling on the turf.
Yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't on those arguments there. Everett wasn't going anywhere with his decision, Mike Everett.
Well, that negates the mistake by Jackie Bradley, who did not go back and tag on the line drive by Mookie Betts, as the Royals make an error to give Boston a 2-run lead. Bogaerts now the batter with a runner on and 2 out. And we're guessing that Lane would still be back out there for the 8th inning to start things, because Morales and Moustakas will go 1-2 in the top of the 8th inning before the right-handers Rios, Infante, and Butera come up. The splits on Boston, home and away, are so dramatic. It's a big hop from Moose. They get the force. At home, Boston averaging 5.3 runs per game. On the road, 3.7. They have 6 tonight. Performance with great deals at the Ram Summer Clearance Event, and by AT&T U-verse high-speed internet. The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Steve Physiak, Rex Adler, Joe Goldberg, and Jeff Montgomery from Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Royals won their first game here in 2 years, more than 2 years, and they trail in the finale 6-4 in the top of the 8th inning. Tommy Lane, as we expected, staying in the game. He's allowed just 2 hits against his last 18 batters, and he will face Morales and then Moustakas.
You know, watching Tommy Lane warm up, he's on that first base side of the rubber, and he really steps towards the Red Sox dugout and throws across his body. There's a lot of deception in there with his cross-firing action.
Morales tries to dump it into right. Castillo too quick, and there's 1 out. Just like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Mike Moustakas going over the monster back in inning number 6.
Outside pitch, 2-strike approach. He'd already fouled off several pitches. He was locked in. Got his 13th home run. 46th RBI.
And that is his second opposite field home run in his career. Rex talked about the first one on opening day. And for the year, he has hit 8 to right, 3 to center, and now 2 to left. The one on opening day was a line shot out, but this one was more of a high arcing shot. He needed that to get it over the 37-foot wall and left. Machi begins to warm in the Red Sox bullpen. He pitched for the world champion Giants last year. Moose 2 hits in the game, a double, a home run. He now has driven in 47.
Tommy Lane likes to throw that fastball into lefties, and then that breaker there you're seeing. Break him away. Let's see if Moose can get something out over the plate here. Get some runners on, get him in trouble. With that crossfire and deception, very tough on lefties.
Yeah, I was talking with Jeff Montgomery the other day, and he said he had a little crossfire where he would step in. He said it allowed more movement on his four-seam fastball. Two first. Shaw will take it himself, and 2 out. Let's see if Lovello brings on the right-hander to face Rios. Yeah, he will. Gene needed that shower because it's a rather dry day here in Boston. Presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Royals. We're at Fenway Park. Rather dismal afternoon weather-wise. Steve Physiok, Rex Huther, Joe Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery with you. And a reminder, Joel and Monty will be along with Boulevard Royals Live after this contest. Royals anxious to get home as they'll face Baltimore. 3 evening games, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then a Thursday afternoon affair. And we hope to see you at the K. Pack the place. Make it loud. Beat the Birds. Alex Rios will face Gene Machi. And Alex swings and bangs it high and deep, but run down by Jackie Bradley, and that will do it in the Royals' 8th. 2011 through 13, helping them win the World Series in the 13 season. He had 9 wins as a member of the Red Sox as both a starting pitcher and reliever, and worked at 3.5 earned run average. He was mainly coming out of the bullpen for Boston in that glory year 2013, but he'll pitch to a former teammate, David Ortiz, who will lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. Ortiz 0 for 2 with the sac fly. He knocked in his 76th run of the year back in the 6th inning. The Royals at one time had a 4-2 lead, but Boston scored 2 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th, and now lead at 6-4. They have been tough on Kansas City the last 2 years, winning 10 of the 13 meetings. Ortiz to center field. Kane near the track pulls it down, and there's one out. So that will take us to Travis Shaw, who's been on twice today, hit by a pitch and then doubled his last time up and scored. And the base hit by Rusney Castillo. There's a strike on the outside corner.
Beautiful slider there. Started middle, ended up away.
Another strike of the outside corner, and it's 1-2. And Tazawa, who has a save in this series, getting to warm up for Boston. Junichi Tazawa, he picked up the save on Thursday with a 1-2-3 ninth inning, and he will face scheduled batters Infante, Butera, and then back to the top of the order. So if the Royals are going to pinch hit, you would figure it'd be for the bottom guys, because there's no way they'll pinch hit for Escobar, Zobrist, Kane, Hosmer, Morales, Moustakas, guys like that. The Royals have off the bench Dyson, Perez, and Paulo Orlando. Good pitch by Morales, and he pitched Shaw, the lefty, very, very well and struck him out. Again, Boulevard Royals live with Joel and Monty as soon as this game is over, and then we'll head to the airport, fly home, get in a respectable hour, and take on Boston for a 4-game series. So Ned Yost, he wants to see Chris Young here finish off the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll be right back. been very good out of the bullpen. As a matter of fact, first batter efficiency out of the pen. He has faced 8 batters, got them all out. And the guy he'll face is RUSNEY Castillo, the right fielder. Overall, Chris this year, 8-6, 3.28 ERA. He saw his first action in a week on Tuesday in Cincinnati, tossing a scoreless 8th inning. And that was his first appearance out of the bullpen since May 6th against Cleveland. He had been in the starting rotation from May 10th until July 28th, doing a good job with 7 wins and a 3.5 ERA.
Castillo, he'll see a fastball slider from Young. Slider's been really good in the limited times he's been able to pitch. It's got good downward depth to it. Fastball not overpowering, 87, 88.
And I'm sure he was watching from the bullpen as Mike Everett was giving a lot of low strikes, and so he immediately kept that ball down, but a little bit too low. Now tries to get back in the count, but misses it. And it's a 3-0 count to Castillo. We've got the catcher Hanigan on deck. Strike 1. Castillo thought it was ball 4. Well, he might have caught the corner there, but instead a walk to Castillo, and now it will be the right-hander Young facing the right-hander Hanigan. Came up with a key hit in the 7th inning on an 0-2 pitch, lining a single left field, and then doubled in by Jackie Bradley. And that broke the 4-4 tie. So Hanigan has been a big part. And he goes after the first pitch, pops it up. They had sent the runner. Escobar in shallow left will make the catch, and that will do it for Boston in the bottom of the 8th. The Royals need 2 to tie. Infante will lead things off. We told you because of the injury to Koji Uehara, Tazawa has been moved from his 8th inning role to his 9th inning role, and he has actually done a good job over his last 3 games. He has 3 scoreless appearances with a couple of saves. And opponents only batting 1 for 10 in those 3 appearances. He picked up a save on Thursday night with a 1-2-3 9th inning, striking out Kendrys Morales, and then got Moustakas on a line out and Perez to ground out for his 2nd save of 2015. Royals, unless they come back, will have a 3-3 road trip. They won the first 2 in Cincinnati, lost the next two in Boston, won yesterday 6-3. Infante 1 for 3. He singled back in the third and then grounded out twice to third in the fourth and sixth.
Cazal will go low to mid-90s with his fastball. Slider, curve, and a split finger. Now he likes to get ahead with the fastball and finish guys off with that split finger. That's what he's been successful with.
He has that little hesitation in his delivery. It's strike one to Infante. Infante with a high fly ball deep to left field. And Bradley has to play it off the wall. Now misplays it badly. And Infante is coming home. And the throw is all the way to the plate. And what a brilliant throw by Bradley to get Infante.
Wow, when that ball went up in this fog, Bradley, he turned automatically thinking it was going to play off the wall. He misjudged it. Infante kept coming hard. As you see, once he tried to recover, it was too late, and then the ball kicked on him. And he got some help with the moisture on the grass on the throw as it skipped perfectly. As he loaded up, and watch it skip. And it hit the down slope of the mound. That's what happened. And then when Infante slid, he stuck in the mud. And he couldn't get any momentum coming home.
The Royals could be challenging the blocking the plate ruling. But I will say this, Hud. Down by 2 runs, down by 1 run, I understand sending him. But down by 2 runs, do you negate a rally? I mean,
you know,
having a runner on third base with nobody out.
Yeah, being the leadoff hitter, you know, you could be happy with just a triple. And as deep as Bradley was, Jersley was counting on at least a relay throw, and it had to be a perfect throw to get him. And there was some fortune there as Bradley's heave, when it landed on the down slope in the front of the mound, and it gave it a little extra kick. And I was surprised, as well as Mike Jersley was. You can see Drew Butera doing a nice job of getting behind him there and helping Infante with the slide, but Infante never could get home as he didn't have enough momentum as he slid. He stuck right in there, and Hanigan, he had the whole plate covered.
Well, it's up to New York right now.
Jersley could have played it safe and just held him there, but he was counting on. He didn't expect Bradley to throw him out all the way from left center.
If the score was 5-4, I could see them sending him. He's out.
Well, Infante got a break by Bradley misplaying that ball, but the Red Sox got a break now. Here's Jersley in his defense. He's thinking there's no way he can throw him out, and look where that ball landed. See where it landed on the bottom slope there, and it really just kicked. And it was a perfect throw.
So now 1 out, nobody on. Batter Drew Butera. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Didn't mean to do it, but he did go past the mark. And now it drew down in the count. Butera with a sacrifice, a double, and a strikeout. Zawa signed out of the Japanese Independent League in December of 2008. He's been a big part of their success, obviously part of their 2013 World Championship as their setup man.
Yep, now he went with that high fastball on purpose. That's to set up that split finger that he uses. It's 2 strikes on the batter. He goes, that's his go-to pitch.
Foul. Tried to get Drew to chase, but good discipline to lay off. Rick, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and Jackie Bradley misplayed that ball badly off of the wall, but as you said, fortune smiled on him when he got just the edge of that grass and again got that true skip hop right to the catcher.
Yeah, but that's unfortunate for the Royals. There's no doubt about it. Took the momentum right away from him.
And a base hit by Drew. So the Royals will bring the tying run to the plate, and Alcides Escobar is Tazawa struggling here in the 9th inning, has not really been able to record an out the traditional way.
A little bit surprised he didn't go to his split finger there. He just challenged Drew, and Drew a good easy level swing on it.
Well, what do you think about the conditions, the moisture? Do you think that would affect the decision to stay away from the splitty?
No. That's a good pitch. It's not that bad out here right now. And Tazawa just didn't execute his pitch there.
Ball 1. Now Hanigan calls time because he needs to visit with Tazawa, who's laboring here in the 9th inning. Tazawa, right-handers only batting .224 against him. Lefties hitting .274, and switch hitter. And Zobrist will be next.
Yeah, if Infante would have stayed at third, they'd have had another run there on that base hit, and then Dyson would have been in the pinch run for Buterra. Things hadn't worked out in this inning so far. Now they could mount a little rally here. See if they can get to him.
And there's another base hit to right field. So now the Royals have 2 on with only 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. That's 3 straight hits.
Tazawa, he's not commanding his fastball. He's trying to get ahead with it, but it's right down the middle. Hanigan was sitting outside.
When Denny Matthews was with us in that 7th inning, Ben Zobrist was up, and Denny said Ben had a good pitch to handle, but popped up to right field. So perhaps he'll come and get that cookie and square it up.
Well, 7 of his 10 home runs this season have tied the game or given the club the lead. He's in the right spot.
And he lines it sharply, caught by Bogaerts, and he goes to first, safe. Wow.
Rats, that ball was
what a loaded the bases.
That's nice. What a good swing. Bogaerts showing his leaping abilities, able to snag that liner to keep him from being loaded up. And another pitch right down the middle to Zawa. He's throwing some batting practice right now. Having some good fortune defensively. Escobar barely got back in. Just caught him off guard there.
If Bogaerts immediately goes to first base, I think they get the double play, but he looked to second first and hesitated. So maybe Kane can get one to his liking and drive it out. Lorenzo 0 for 3. He had a line drive to Sandoval in the 5th inning with a runner at third base. Right field, base hit. Butera comes around. He will be held, and Kansas City has loaded the bases. And once again, Escobar too far around second base. He thought Butera was heading home, and he had to put the brakes on and get back to second in a hurry.
Oh, man, Boston is lucky as they've gotten in this inning. They're not out of it. The Royals are pressuring him again. Tazawa throwing that cookies right down the middle. Fastball, good short swing. Kane just trying to load him up. Butera looked like he didn't have some good footing. It's awfully slick around there, but you know, Jerge had the stop sign on him. Didn't want to get him thrown out there with Eric Hosmer, best hitter coming up.
Yeah, I like their chances with Haas up there.
Yep, sounds a good move by Jerge here to hold him.
Popped up. That should get out of play and will.
Yeah, man, that's the pitch Haas wanted. He was ready for it.
Yep. And Hosmer with the bases loaded, a .271 hitter. He has never hit a grand slam this year, 1 for 7. He is singled today, scored a run. That came back in the 2-run 4th.
Tazawa, he has not been able to get to his split finger. He's trying to get ahead with the fastball, but his command is not where he wants it. It's right where the Royals want it, right down the middle of the plate. Haas almost made him pay there. Let's see if he can make a mistake and Haas can take advantage of it.
The base is loaded. Line drive to left field. It will score 1. Here comes Escobar. Throw to the plate. Not in time. The Royals have tied it.
And Tazawa is not able to hold off in his defense and making some plays. Haas is saying, yeah, we're not done, fellas. Might as well win it while we're here. Oh, some great hitting here in the 9th inning. All started by Omar Infante. That ball's way outside. Haas wasn't trying to hit a slam. He just trying to tie it up. And as good as Sandoval's been today at third base, he couldn't make that play. Bradley's throw, he pulled it. And Haas is fired up.
And it's interesting, they have not had a left-hander warming up in the pen. I thought they might have Robbie Ross up there or Craig Breslow. Breslow did pitch 2 innings last night, but they have left Tazawa out there, thankfully, for the Royals, who have come back with 2 in the 9th to tie it. And here is Morales, who is the Royals' best. He has 85 RBIs this year and leads the majors with 44 2-out RBIs, tied for 4th with 55 hits with 2 outs, and first with 16 2-out doubles. How about a double right here?
Yeah, you know, take a lousy single.
Okay.
But Tazawa, man, he just not getting it done.
Strike 1.
He's trying to get me over curve there.
Great rally by Kansas City. I mean, the only true out recorded was on that high leaping play by Xander Bogaerts on a ball that was crushed by Ben Zobrist. First out we talked about on the Infante triple off the Green Monster, but Infante thrown out at the plate trying to stretch that triple into an inside the park home run. Wade Davis begins to warm in the Kansas City pen.
How about this? Frenzy hitting breaking out here in this ninth inning. The Royals are saying, you know what? We don't want to go home without a W. We're going to fight and claw. And, you know, Tazawa's helped him out by throwing a lot of fastballs in the middle of that plate. Now, Hosmer's ball was way away, but he got to credit Hos for that great opposite field single there. Knocked in a couple.
And that's a great block by Hanigan, because if that ball gets in the dirt and skips away from Ryan, Kane would have scored the go-ahead run.
And that's the split finger. I wonder why he hadn't been going to that pitch. It's a little bit too late to be going to it now.
Well, if he'll throw it on 2-1, he'll throw it on 2-2. The Royals sent Hosmer, so he will take second base. Now, if Morales on a 3-2 count can drop a base hit, the Royals could score 2 more. They've scored 2 so far in the ninth to lock this game up at 6.
That's why it's a yellow 2. There's still action. He's still got some time here. Morales looking for something on over the plate. Now, with first base open, Moose is behind him. He doesn't have to stretch his strike zone. Morales be a little bit more selective, but anything close, he'll be hacking.
Ooh, barely missed, but it will load the bases. It looked like Kendris was looking back at the umpire as if to say, that looked outside, didn't it? And it was.
First walk of the game, and loads him up again.
It's amazing, Hud, that Tazawa's only thrown 20 pitches. It seems like he's thrown 40. He is facing his 8th batter in this 9th inning. Twice the Royals have loaded the bases.
Tazawa has 6 wild pitches with that split finger, so Kane will have to be alive. Anything that's bouncing.
Moose with 1 grand slam. It came against Toronto a few years ago at the Rogers Center. See, Mike blasted one over the Green Monster back in inning number 6.
Moose is due. He hasn't gotten a bases loaded hit all year long. See if he can take a page out of Hosmer's book. I'm trying to stay away from him. Reach out there and slap that ball to left field would be a nice idea here.
Royals 2 for 3 this inning with runners in scoring position. They're the best team in the game with 2 out with runners in scoring position. Fouled off. 1-2. We saw some numbers earlier today. Mike hitting .307 on fastballs, .200 on changeups or pitches like that split finger. Another great block by Ryan Hanigan.
And it's not easy with the conditions here, the moisture on the ground, the dirt, the grass, the ball. So he made sure he smothered it right here. I'm going to square that baby up.
Kane at third, Hosmer at second, Morales at first.
See him up in the zone. Look up. And the split coming.
Mike taking a page out of David Ortiz's book. Foul off the good ones and wait for the mistake and drive it. That would be lovely here in the top of the 9th inning, as the Royals have already fought back from a 2-run deficit to tie this game at 6. There's the left-hander we were talking about, Robbie Ross, that we thought might be warming earlier in the inning.
He hasn't thrown Moose one good pitch in the strike zone. So Moose a little bit leery of that. I don't think he wants any part of Moose. He came up and in on a Moose fighting it off. We saw earlier when Moose hit his 13th home run, how many pitches he fouled off until he got the cookie, you know, so he's staying alive. He's in swing mode.
Good point.
Just stay off of that split finger if you can, though. He's going to go back to it, especially after that high inside fastball.
It was the 9th pitch of the at-bat when he hit that home run off the starting pitcher Rodriguez. Slashes it foul again. How about that? He's getting a fine batting practice today with all those pitches he's seen. 26.
This will lock a hitter in. You're seeing that many pitches, you know, you get you in a groove, especially when you're swinging and fouling off those tough ones. And Tazawa, he's made plenty of mistakes in this inning. Surely he's got one left in him.
He's getting some good swings.
This is what you like. Competing in your at-bat. Game on the line. Moustakas is battling right here.
And Hud, he hit a home run in the 9th pitch. The 9th pitch is coming right here. He hit a home run in the 6th inning on the 9th pitch.
Did a pretty good job of staying out of the middle of the plate here so far.
What a great at bat by Mike. Tazawa getting ready to deliver his 30th pitch of the inning. Nothing's been easy for the veteran right-hander. A shot to right center field, and look at Moustakas, who will likely clear the bases. They're going to send Morales, and Kendris will be out at the plate, but the Royals have taken the lead.
Moose competing and winning.
What a great at bat by Mike Moustakas.
He waited for the cookie, and man, were there some chocolate chips all over the bases. He cleaned them up. That was it. That's what you do when you're in swing mode. He's hot as a firecracker. He earned it. There it was, right down the middle. Moose is loose, no question.
here, and it did in the 9th inning. Down by 2 runs, Butera started it. ESCOBAR, Kane, Hosmer says, all right, I'll shorten up my stroke and we'll tie this game up. What tremendous hitting by the Royals here late on their closer. And then Moose, on his 11th pitch, he says, I'm going to win this game for us, or at least try to. And man, has it been exciting. The most exciting 9th inning I think we've seen all year long. And the Moose has been loose. Going to opposite field for a homer earlier in this game over the Monster, and now he cleaned the sacks almost. Morales made the last out at the plate. It doesn't matter.
Well, that was a wonderful dinner we just had. So should we call for the check now?
Well, no. We still got 3 outs to go, Fizz. But Waiter's 10 for 10 this year in saves.
Ryan Hanigan, who we pinch hit for. It was Hanigan's spot, who was the catcher. Instead, they will go with Jackie Bradley after knock foul. Jackie Bradley is 2 for 3 today. He has doubled twice, once in the 2nd and once in the 7th.
And all of a sudden, you could hear a pin drop here in Fenway Park.
Davis tried to tie him up inside. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Davis has been outstanding this year, a 7-1 record, 107 ERA. This is game number 53 for the tall right-hander. And there's a line drive to left field, so Bradley stays hot.
Okay, Wade Davis, he's got the curve. Didn't really have the good depth on it. Ball was inside, good inside out swing. That wasn't his best curveball, but a really nice inside out. Aaron kicking his hands in there and went to left field. Just trying to get some guys on.
The batter will be Josh Rutledge, who is 1 for 2 with a sacrifice today. And Rutledge takes strike 1. Rutledge singled in a run back in the 2nd, fly to left field in the 5th. Foul back, and Davis has the advantage 0-2. He has that exceptional cut fastball.
Yep, he'll go to low 90s with that pitch, and then his 4-seamer's 97. Usually excellent command. Location is good for him, and curveball. Bradley saw that. Stroked to left.
And that was the cut fastball that ran away from Josh.
Davis has induced a couple of double plays this year. He's got that in it.
Foul back. Rutledge at one time the starter for the Colorado Rockies, and then bounced around a little bit. He was with the Angels before coming over to Boston in the Victorino deal. Pedroia, their starting second baseman, still on the disabled list. Davis made his 3rd scoreless outing on the road trip, working around a walk and a single in the 8th inning last night. In there, strike 3 called.
That was filthy. What a spot by Davis. Down and in, Rutledge already gave up on it. Home plate umpire gave it to him. Mike Everett.
Let's see where it was on the grid. Yeah, slow strike. Rutledge, you got to go.
Right on the edge, and Davis a perfect 10 for 10 with save opportunities this year as the Royals closer. Most of those when Greg Holland was sidelined on the disabled list. Strike one. Mookie Betts 0 for 4. Popped up twice, flied out to center, and also lined out to right.
A hard time doubling him up. He's only been caught doubling up twice this year. Good speed.
The Royals, you just joined us, trailed Boston by a couple of runs in the top of the ninth and scored 4 times. Big hits by Hosmer to tie it, and then Moustakas to send them in front 8-6. In there, back in the count, even 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, that has to be really tough when you see a high 90s 4-seam fastball and then a low 90s fastball with that kind of movement. Just outside. In the air, right side, Rios in, 2 outs. Pablo has faced Wade Davis twice in his career, has 1 hit. And tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, Pablo Sandoval is 1 for 4.
It's got to be just regular season stats. Because I think Pablo faced Wade Davis a few times in the World Series.
Yeah, they did have just regular season stats up. And there's a line drive to center field, stays up for Kane, and the Royals win it in one of their most memorable comebacks of the year at a place that has haunted them the last 2 seasons. The Royals with a marvelous comeback to even this series and beat the Sox at Fenway 8-6.
Can't believe nobody called the park ranger. Earlier when Moose went over the monster, we were calling for him, and he's nowhere to be seen, and the Moose continues to stay loose. Incredible job of batting today by Moose, trusting his hands, putting a smile on his skipper. That was the wildest 9th inning we've seen all year. Frenzy hitting broke out on their closer, Tazawa. Get on the bus and forget about us. Coming home to the K with a nice 4-2 road trip.
And smiles all around, and Ned Yost awfully pleased with the way his team played on Saturday and Sunday to gain this split at Fenway Park. And once again, they move back to a season best 27 games over 500. Wade Davis closes it out, but again, the star of the show has to be Mike Moustakas. 2 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, and here's his day.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, Moose is starting to do exactly what Dale Swain wanted him to do. Quit thinking up there. Just go up there, don't think about your mechanics, and just throw them hands. And look what he's been doing with them. Oh, my, catching that ball perfectly for his 13th off of Rodriguez, and Moustakas wasn't done. On the 11th pitch, I mean, he was grinding. He waited for the mistake. He got it and did not miss it.
Well, Joel Goldberg, you're with the star of the day, Mike Moustakas. 2 great at bats, 20 pitches he saw in those 2 at bats, a home run, and, of course, the double.
All right, thanks. We already got the cooler. Salvi wasn't even messing around. It's cold. We'll deal with that one later. Mike Moustakas, the hero of the game. Have you seen a whole lot of finishes like that one in your career?
No, it's a crazy finish. But we never stopped battling till the end, and we were able to come through. Got a bunch of big hits that last inning, and was able to come through with bases loaded.
Unbelievable. Tell us about that approach there, too. You already had a 9-pitch at bat and a home run. 10 pitches. What's going through your head as you keep fouling those off?
I'm just trying to fight. I'm staying with my approach, looking for something out over the plate, and try to fight off those tough splits that he was throwing. And I ended up getting a good pitch and just put a good swing on it, and got through the infield and carried to the outfield. And it was big runs for us.
You guys have said over and over again, this team never quits, this team never lies down. But there you have the leadoff triple. Jersh ends up sending him, thrown out at the plate. You're down 2. What's the mood then at that point in the dugout?
We're not done yet. We're here to pick each other up. And, Jersh sent him. I thought it was a good send. Jackie threw an amazing throw home. And, we never stopped battling from then on. We knew we have a lot of heart, and we went out there and we proved it.
I would have liked to have warned you on that ice bucket, or at least given you some shifty eyes. I never even saw it either. How'd that feel?
It was cold. I knew it was coming, though. I saw him, so he's got to wear it.
Great job, and we'll see you back home for the series tomorrow.
Awesome, thanks.
Mike Moustakas, a home run, and then the big game-winning RBIs in the Gatorade bucket. Lots to talk about coming up on Boulevard Royals Live.
Indeed, Joel, a lot to talk about in this one because it was a back-and-forth affair, a roller coaster ride on a Sunday afternoon, and the Royals win it 8-6 over Boston.